It's another battle of the best, round 2. The top-seeded Bluefield Beavers are ready for a rematch. Last year they faced Poca in Wheeling, but walked away without the title. Now they're back for another crack at the Dodge. But Poca is on a mission to make Class AA history. They're going for a three-peat.
It'd be unbelievable. We won one in '94, and I thought that was tremendous. And then the last 2 years we were able to win. Being in this position is truly tremendous.
The only thing in their way is a sea of navy and maroon.
We're ready for the rematch, but they're a really formidable opponent. They've been won all year long. They're going to be something to handle. We just have to prepare as best we can and go see what happens.
The trophy is up for grabs. Join us for the West Virginia 2003 Class AA Championship game. We welcome you inside Wheeling Island Stadium for a special edition of the Sports Zone, the Super 6, the West Virginia High School Football Championships. First up, the AA title game. The two-time defending champs, Bob Lemley's Polka Dots, taking on the top seed, Fred Simon's Bluefield Beavers. Well, hi there. Dave Bleakley, happy to be alongside Sean McDowell tonight. Sean, this is a rematch. Last year at Wheeling Island Stadium, Bluefield scored first. Ready to be a grown man. Yeah. Kenny, ready to move inside.
67, Brandon Bonnell. Next up, 66.
Man, I may have to wear my jacket. It's cold in the
Yeah, I'll suit you. I feel good.
Do you?
Next up, number 7, Rusty Grover. Number 21, David Perdue.
Things are going too well.
Say that. I know. Never talk about the no-hitter during the no-hitter.
Boy, this game's really moving along.
Next up, number 33, Jose Steele. Number 18, Kelly Marotti.
Is that Josh from Channel 8? I think it is.
I don't know.
He's a good guy.
Oh, he is a good kid.
Yeah. God, he is freaks me out.
Oh, there's the lineup. Oh, that's one. Chamberlain,
Tello wants to go to EKU.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I remember Capitol had a kid who signed with them and then immediately went out and broke his leg, getting ready to play in the North-South team and never suited up.
What year?
Maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Okay. Haven't heard from you guys down there in a while.
Steel turned on.
There you go. That's cool.
We need you guys. More than they need us. You're going to Chicago?
Hey,
I hear it's warm there.
We're still good to go for billboards after we toss break? Okay.
Billboard.
Where's this Mr. Board?
Billboard, William Board.
West Virginia Super 6 champion. The West Virginia Super 6 Championship games are being brought to you tonight by Dodge and your local Dodge dealers. Grab life by the horns and by West Banco. Class AA Championship, Sean McDowell, and look at the weather conditions tonight. A nor'easter has invaded the northern panhandle of West Virginia, and there's no question that this is going to be a factor in tonight's game. Last week when Bluefield took care of the West Side Renegades, there was about 4 inches of snow on the field for that game. In fact, Bluefield did not throw a pass in the second half of their victory over West Side. I think Bluefield's going to have to throw a ball a little bit tonight, but conditions are going to be a factor. Conditions are definitely going to be a factor. That's not Frosty the Snowman doing the coin toss, but he probably ought to be here. And in seriousness, you can forgive folks a little bit. There are plenty of seats at Wheeling Island Stadium right now. You can forgive them a little bit because, my goodness, these conditions are tough. Very tough. There's Bob Lemley. He's the head football coach of the Poca Dots in his 14th year. He was a baseball star after he finished high school at Huntington East, played college baseball for the legendary Jack Cook at Marshall University. Got as high as AA in the Cincinnati Reds organization. He actually coached baseball for a while at Poca. Then he got touched by the football bug, coached football in middle school, and now he's really got the Dots rolling. And he's trying to make a little history tonight as the Dots try to repeat. And if they do, they'll be the first West Virginia Class AA team to ever do that. Fred Simon on the other side has really been the mastermind of a wonderful football powerhouse at Bluefield in AA. And of course, Bluefield has a long and outstanding tradition in AAA as well. They've been the #1 seeded team in AA all season long. And you know they want to get after Poca tonight. Yeah, you know they do, but there's a downside to being #1. Of course, being #1 just means the target on your back is that much bigger. So Poca's definitely going to come at them and give them their best shot. Bluefield is tough. Well, most of West Virginia started the day with rain, but now as time has marched on, the weather has deteriorated. Current temperature 30 degrees. Winds will be gusty tonight, up to about 10 miles an hour. And this is going to affect the natural turf here at Wheeling Island Stadium. Kind of ironic, last week, the Poca Dots thought at the last minute that they wanted to change the venue of their semifinal game against Mount View, move it to Lately Field, where they played many playoff games over the years. Couldn't do it at the last minute, had to play at OO White Stadium in Poca, which is certified for playoff competition this year. So the Dots are used to playing on a sloppy turf as well. Well, we've talked a lot about defense as well, Dave, and that's definitely going to play a role tonight. Bluefield's average margin of victory, 35-11, but remember, Poca won last week. You mentioned the Mount View game, all they gave up was a safety. 24-2 was the final score in that. Both these teams like to run the football. You mentioned somebody's going to have to throw it sooner or later. My goodness, under these conditions, I think it's going to be a defensive struggle. Well, you can see Lucas Stone, the junior kicker for the Bluefield Beavers, putting the ball on the tee. And Stone is one of the best kickers in the state of West Virginia, but he'll have his hands full tonight. Yeah, he definitely is, and my goodness, it's a good thing there's a tee down there. You try to set this one up in the snow, and you're probably going to be in trouble. And there is one of the smallest players on the field tonight, but he will play a huge role in this game. #1, Matt Santmeyer. And Bluefield, understandably so, is going to kick the ball away from Santmeyer, and it'll be down at the 37-yard line, and that is where the Dots will begin 1st and 10. The Poca Dots are 11-2 on the season. They are from the Cardinal Conference, and Shamblin will be at the quarterback spot. White will carry the ball from the fullback position. Browning also will see the ball a lot. We told you about Santmeyer. Tony Sotelo, a very dangerous tight end, and Hill is the split end. And this is a good offensive line that really was a concern early in the year. They're young, but they've come on this season. Smith at the left guard is the best of the bunch. Browning's a guy you have to watch, Dave. Everybody knows about Santmeyer, but they'll give the ball to Browning, and he's so effective on the trot. Jake Shamblin with the handoff, and here comes Santmeyer. Santmeyer is able to break one tackle and is bumped out of bounds rudely after a gain of 13 yards. And that's what he does. You saw him go one side to the other. It's the hop step, Dave. Here's the Bluefield defense. This is a group that is giving up 18 points per game in the playoffs. They'll go with a 5-man front. And keep your eye on number 66, Davin Williams, one of the best down linemen in the state of West Virginia. Linebacking core, this is a good group as well. Look in the middle where Steele and Steptoe will make the majority of the tackles. Mariotti, Martin, and Purdue, the defensive backs for the Beavers. 1st and 10 at midfield. Those are the football in Bluefield territory. Try the fullback this time. Not much running room for Steve White, the senior. And White is able to fall forward for a gain of maybe a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Now, White will normally only carry the football when Poca is in the wing T set. When they go to an I formation, he turns into a blocker, and a devastating one at that.
Well, he does. Talk about blocking. Give his field crew a little bit of credit, Dave. All of a sudden, this looks like a football field instead of a ski slope.
Unbelievable. Now, when Poca got to O.O. White Stadium last Saturday, when they showed up, their field was covered with snow. So both these teams are used to these conditions. They don't like it, but they're used to it. And there's Santmeyer, and Santmeyer is corralled by Mariotti, and Santmeyer's momentum carries him near the 48-yard line.
That's Quentin Steptoe stepping in to help on the tackle, Dave.
And Davin Williams helped out as well. This Bluefield defense in a regular season gave up 90 yards in rushing. And in the regular season, they held Hoover to 1 rushing yard. 3rd down now, 3rd down and 8 from the Bluefield 48. That's White in motion. Handoff inside, nowhere to go. Down to the 45-yard line. First carry for the senior Wes Browning. Browning's really put together a solid season. He's a nice alternative back to Santmeyer. So now it's 4th down. 4th down and a long 5, and it looks like the Dots are going to go for it.
Now, there's no sin in kicking the football. You hear coaches say that. Not a bad thing necessarily to kick the football. It's early on.
So Bob Lemley, who's won 11 straight West Virginia playoff games, now looks like they're going to go back into punt formation. So Sotelo, the tight end, also punts the football. He's back to kick it away. No rush. Sotelo's going to send this one down the field. And this one will go into the end zone for a touchback. It's a 45-yard punt and no return. 9:47 to go in the opening period, no score. And now the Bluefield offense will get their first opportunity. Bob Lindley checking out the charts. The Dots will use a variety of formations on offense.
Hard to say what's on that piece of paper, Dave. He runs some tricky stuff.
He does.
These photos cannot be sold or distributed in any
Now, Bluefield's in their 2nd straight West Virginia Class AA championship game, despite a 1-3 start last year. And there's the quarterback, Rusty Coburn, 6'3", 199, a junior. He had a streak of 11 straight games with at least 1 touchdown pass snapped last week. And the handoff goes right up the middle, and it's Jose Steele, the bruising senior fullback. And he carries tacklers up near the 25-yard line.
Dave, we mentioned Steele in our open. There's a lot to be liked about momentum because he comes into the playoffs with so many touchdowns, a pair apiece in each of his last 3 games.
There's a lot of talent here. Coburn, the quarterback, Martin, Steele, Purdue, all very capable of going the distance when they get the football. And this Bluefield offensive line has really come together. They're especially strong with Williams and Pinnell on one side. It's 2nd down and 6 from the 24. David Purdue with his first carry.
The handoff to David Purdue.
So Purdue is able to pick up 2 yards, and it'll be 3rd down and 3. We anticipate both these teams will move primarily on the ground because of the weather conditions.
The clock could keep running.
Poca defense, watch out for Sotelo from his defensive end. He's a terrific rusher, and White is a force at the nose guard spot. In the linebacking core, Smith and Kinder, a converted nose guard, has really been coming on. Santmeyer has 10 interceptions this year as a defensive back. Here's the pitch, and Purdue slips. His knee did not go down, but he did not pick up the first down. So it's 3 and out for Bluefield on their first possession of the night.
And Dave, you see one of the obstacles they're facing. Doesn't matter what color jersey you're wearing tonight, you are going to slip and slide on that turf.
No question about that. Now, Purdue during the season averaged nearly 7.5 yards per carry, but really never got motoring that time. So here's Stone back to punt the football. Stone will handle all the kicking chores for Bluefield: kickoffs, field goal attempts, and punting. Short kick. It'll take a Bluefield roll and be downed at the 46-yard line. So the Polka Dots will have the football for their second possession of the night. When we come back, 7:39 to go, opening period. Poca and the Bluefield Beavers still looking for their first points on a cold and snowy night in Wheeling.
She and the Super 6 football committee would like to take this.
To come down, we're looking for our first points of the West Virginia Class AA championship game. Poca with a football now on offense. And across the 50 and to the 48-yard line goes Matt Santmeyer. And Santmeyer has just made a great career of just running away from people as the tailback for Poca.
Now, that's what's led him to 2,200 yards on the ground this season, Dave. You don't get there when you're his size by running right at people. Like we mentioned, he uses the hop step to get away from defenders.
Well, Santmeyer's just had a fabulous career. He holds the Poca record for touchdowns in a season, 32, and he holds the Putnam County record for 6-point scores with 64 in his outstanding career. No room to run that time. Steve White found nowhere to go. Good defense in there. Rusty Coburn, the quarterback for Bluefield, led the defense. Now let's head down to the field. Steve McGee's got more on the deteriorating conditions here on Wheeling Island.
I would say the field down here is not ideal for football. Very tough to get traction. As you can see in the first couple of series, not much room from the outside or in the inside. The last person Coach Lemley talked to in the locker room before the kickoff was his senior, Matt Santmeyer. He told Matt to go out there and play like a champion, play smart, and play with a lot of heart. So far, he's doing a pretty good job.
Steve, stand by. I want to ask you a little bit more about these conditions after this play. Here we go on the carry. On a tackle. Nowhere to go. We've got a flag down. And he's down. Steve, I just wanted to ask you, what about the equipment for Poca? How many shoes did they bring tonight?
They're only going to bring one pair of shoes. Of course, they have different size cleats, though, so we'll find out which cleat is right. We'll maybe make some adjustments to the halftime, but right now they're okay with what they're wearing. All
right, Steve, thanks. No penalty on the play, just a good defensive play by the Beavers. So Sotelo is set to punt the football again.
Some folks don't realize that, Dave. There's different kinds of spikes to go in the bottoms of your shoes, just like golf shoes. You can set them up different ways for different methods of golfing, different conditions.
Line drive punt. Coburn dropped it, then picked it up, and then is brought down at the 30-yard line.
The return.
5:33 to go in the opening period.
Jack Shandlin.
And now the Bluefield Beavers of head coach Fred Simon will have their second possession.
They'll take over.
And while Matt Santmeyer is the
First down and 10.
the go-to guy for Poca, the top 5 Bluefield running backs this season averaged 8.5 yards per carry. They have a host of different guys who can really run very well. Chris Martin still yet to get his first carry.
Yeah, everybody focuses on Purdue and, of course, his teammate, their Steele, but they've got a host of guys who can run the ball.
Speaking of Steele, here he goes. He's into the secondary.
Stealing away.
And up in across the 45 to the 46-yard line. That's a 16-yard gain. So Jose Steele, he's been on a tear in the playoffs, running for at least 130 yards and 2 touchdowns in Bluefield's 3 postseason games.
He just uses his blockers, Dave. Found the blocks. Yep. Broke a tackle there. Carried a guy a little bit.
Last week in their win over Westside, in conditions very similar to this, he had 133 yards and 3 touchdowns. First and 10 from the 45. Martin's in motion. And he got the football. And he is rudely brought down by Fletcher Kinder. Now, Chris Martin last week against Westside took the first offensive snap and went 35 yards down inside the 5-yard line against Westside, and that set up Bluefield's first touchdown. That's the first time he touched the football, and Kinder's going to make him remember that kid.
Oh boy, when the pads pop in the cold weather, you really feel it that much more, don't you? I felt that one up here.
It's just that cold. Second down and 7. Bluefield at their own 47-yard line. Martin in motion. They fake it to Martin, and they give it to Purdue. Purdue breaks 2 tackles. He's still on the run. He's into the secondary. Nearly got away again, and is finally brought down, but not before he reaches the Poca 25-yard line. A 27-yard gain.
It's the kind of run Bluefield is going to need if they're going to get the job done tonight. Just takes the handoff from his guy there, and look at how many holes he finds. 54 makes one for him. Another guy makes a hole for him. Just moves through traffic like a cab in rush hour, Dave.
Well, Purdue saved the day against Weir, forcing a second overtime with a one-handed touchdown grab on 4th down, and then sealed the win with a fumble recovery at the Bluefield 3. We'll see if that run leads to the first score of the game. And there goes Steele hammering off the right side for more good yards. 5-yard gain for Jose Steele. Steele suffered through some nagging injuries as a junior for the Beavers, but he's really put together a solid senior season. Speaking of solid, he's solid himself. 6'1", 205.
He's built. Spent some time in the weight room.
So Mariotti will split out wide to the left. Bluefield will go with 2 wide receivers now as they operate on 2nd down and 5 at the Poca 20-yard line. Here's Steele, tries the left side. And the Dots defense sniffed that one out and stop him.
Steve White.
Now normally, this might be the kind of territory where Lucas Stone could perhaps be a weapon, but I'm not sure if Fred Simon is going to let Stone try to kick the football down on this end of the field with all the sloppy conditions.
It looks like the wind is blowing toward him as well. You look at the replay of this one, and he's just not going down here until he's finally forced down. It's Santmeyer and a couple other Poca players. Looks like it might have been Kinder getting in on that tackle, Dave.
All right, we'll have to see what Fred Simon wants to do if we get to that decision-making process on 4th down. 3rd down and 5 at the 20. Fake to Martin. Here's the handoff to Purdue. And Purdue gets a good surge on the counter as he goes off the right side, but he is going to be shy of the 1st down. It'll be 4th down and about 3. Now Lucas Stone against Shady Springs earlier this year, Shady Spring rather, he had 3 field goals in that game, including a 43-yarder. Kicked a 32-yard field goal against Weir in the playoffs, but Bob Lenley and now Fred Simon, they're not going to be looking at any field goal situation here. They're going for it on 4th down.
I can't blame him. You know, like we said, the wind is sort of coming to them with all that snow in the way. And when the ball is wet and the ground is wet, it's hard to plant that foot and much harder to get the kick off.
Bluefield was 2 of 10 on 4th down in the regular season, but 4 of 5 in the playoffs. It's Martin to throw the ball to the end zone. Incomplete. Whew.
Santmeyer is there for it. How about that play?
And Matt Santmeyer has just been a tower of strength on defense as well.
You got to hand it to Bluefield, though. Fred Simon digging deep into the playbook to pull this one out. Pretty good little pass here. You got to give it to the guy. Chris Martin winging it toward the end zone, and at that point, it's a jump ball to see who can get it. Unfortunately, couldn't bring it down in bounds.
All right, well, Matt Santmeyer has built a big reputation as being a really strong player defensively in these championship games. That continues. We're scoreless in Wheeling. Still looking for our first points in Wheeling tonight. Poca and Bluefield, no score after the Poca defense holds on that 4th down pass attempt to the end zone by Bluefield. Now the Dots begin their 3rd possession, and that's good running room by Wes Browning as he picks up 9 yards. It's a 1st down, actually 10 yards. Sean,
that looks like my first apartment.
I was going to say.
I've lived in worse than that.
Whatever gets it done.
Oh, what did those tickets cost him?
1st and 10 now. So Browning picks up 10 yards on that carry. 1st and 10, the Dots at their 29. You see the total yards. Bluefield with the edge there. Bluefield with a strong drive into Poca territory, but the Dot defense stiffened. Here comes Santmeyer. Santmeyer hits the hole quickly. Breaking tackle. Still on his feet. Ball is loose. But Bluefield was unable to make the recovery, and the Dots keep the football at midfield.
Well, here he is taking the run at Santmeyer, and you don't see him fumble very often, Dave, but like we said in our open and like we've said several times throughout the broadcast, yep, that's going to happen. When things get wet and slick, things will happen. Chris Martin made the hit, And Bluefield just comes up with the fumble, and they recover, and they'll take over.
All right, so there's Matt Santmeyer now averaging over 10 yards a carry. I was mistaken. Those are the football resting on the midfield strike. Bluefield defense stiff there. Let's head it down and talk to Drew. Hey, Drew, what about Bluefield and guarding against the trick plays?
Yeah, guys, Fred Simon chewed out his team there during the timeout after they went for a touchdown. He told his team that they got to keep up their intensity and to watch for trick plays. Now that they pulled one out of the trick bag, he told his guys they can't blow their assignments. They need to stay focused and watch out for the trick plays.
All right, Drew, I think that's an important point because Matt Santmeyer is good for at least one halfback pass per game.
Yep, he is. He can throw it.
2nd down and 10. It's Santmeyer again. Little counter action, and boy, where does he get the strength? He's only 5'8", 163, but he carried tacklers down to the Bluefield 45.
You know, Dave, Drew was talking about trick plays coming from the Poca playbook, and I was actually in one of Bob Lemley's practices maybe a month ago. He yelled over to me beside the camera. He says, hey, knock off for a few minutes. So I did, and 10 minutes later, he says, start it up again. He explained later, he says, we're running some trick stuff. And that was about a month ago, but like we said, he's got a deep bag of tricks.
Well, both teams primarily moving the football on the ground, and that is the end of a very quickly played first quarter. We're heading to the second period at Wheeling Island Stadium. This is the West Virginia Class AA championship game. The Polka Dots trying to make some history with a three-peat. Bluefield trying to win the championship for themselves. Well, they're doing everything they can to make this field playable here at Wheeling Island Stadium tonight. And actually, the crew here in Wheeling, as they celebrate their 10th year of the championships in this facility, have done a wonderful job considering the playing conditions. 3rd down and 5 for Poca from the Bluefield 45. We're still scoreless. Here's the pitch to Santmeyer. Santmeyer reads one block beautifully and powers his way down to the 42-yard line. He's going to be 2 yards shy of a first down.
Looked like he might have juggled that one a little bit on the tackle there. Dave did a nice job of hanging on to that one because Bluefield really put a nice hit on it.
You know, obviously, taking care of the football, staying away from the turnovers, those are big factors in any kind of championship game, but those are going to be magnified tonight because of these conditions. Last week, in their semifinal defeat of Mountview and Poca combined for 8 botched snaps and 13 turnovers. And we talked to Bob Lemley about that earlier this week, and he said they spent special time this week in practice with Jake Shamblin, making sure that he secured the snap. And now he wants to call a timeout.
You talk about magnification. Boy, you put this on a big stage like Wheeling Island Stadium, Dave. You put it on the biggest stage in the state, and errors and successes really get blown out.
Bob Lemley and the Polka Dots have called a timeout. We will take it with them. 11-12 to go before halftime. Poca going to talk over this big 4th down play. The Bluefield Beavers looking to make a big defensive stand of their own. We're back to Wheeling in a moment. Championship game. We're early in the second quarter. No score. Poca and Bluefield. Bob Lemley and the Polka Dots called a timeout to talk over this 4th down and 2 situation from the Bluefield 42-yard line. And Matt Santmeyer obviously has got to be the focus of the Bluefield defense on a play like this. Bluefield in the regular season pretty good on 4th down, holding their opponents to just 12 of 30 attempts. And Westside attempted 2 4th down plays last week, and Poca stopped them both. So here we go, 4th down and 2. Power formation. Fake to Santmeyer. The throw by Shamblin is complete. He's got the first down and more. There goes Fletcher Kinder, the backup fullback, takes it all the way down to the 20-yard line.
Fletcher Kinder, of course, had the nice hit a few series ago when he's playing defense, Dave. Now he turns around and makes a nice catch.
Fletcher Kinder, great story. He'll be the starting fullback next year for Poca as Steve White will be graduating. But Kinder comes up with a big play. And how about this pass?
Boy, it really felt like they were going to go to Santmeyer on that play, Dave. Instead, he turns around and he throws a nice touchdown, or rather a nice first down on this play. Poca's not known for throwing the football. Of course, they have Tony Sotelo, who they'll go to on the fly once in a while. So Poca can throw.
So Kinder will go back to the sidelines. White will be back in at the fullback spot. That was a 21-yard gain. Here's Santmeyer, and great penetration that time by the front four of the Bluefield Beavers, and Santmeyer, his progress was stopped. And it was Coburn again, and he's got 6 tackles here in the first half for Bluefield.
Coburn's a versatile athlete. Of course, he plays quarterback on the other side of the ball.
Yeah,
Kind of athlete a lot of football teams would like to have.
Coburn has come to play tonight. Well, Bluefield really dominated a lot of teams in Class AA this year, but you look at the Poca Dots, here's a team that's averaging about 26 points a game. They've played some tight games. They had a 2-game losing streak earlier in the year, but now they're battle-tested in the playoffs. It's Santmeyer again. All right, for more on Santmeyer, let's send it down to Steve McGehee. Steve?
Well, it's amazing how Matt Santmeyer can just run through tackles. It was after his junior year, he got tired of players catching him from behind and dragging him down. So after his junior year, he went to the weight room, gained 15 more pounds. He's also faster now, runs about a 4.6 in the 40. So Matt Santmeyer was certainly ready for his senior season, and he's getting ready, hopefully here, for Poca to score his 29th touchdown of the season.
Thank you, Steve. You know, you take a look at Matt Santmeyer, who actually started his high school career at Nitro and then transferred over to the Poca Dots. He has gone over 100 yards in 20 of his last 24 games, and he's run for at least 131 yards in all but 1 game this year, 56 yards rushing, and lost to Hoover.
And Dave, you go for almost 2,200 yards at any level. I don't care if it's Pop Warner or for the state championship or the Super Bowl. You're pretty awesome.
That's the best in the state of West Virginia this year. Here's the handoff inside. It's Kinder. Touchdown. So Kinder makes the big reception on 4th down for 21 yards. Then he takes it 11 yards for the touchdown.
And the Shakers come out on that one, just a straight up run up the gut, Dave.
So Kinder with the touchdown run. Kind of difficult to see the lines on the field. This actually covered 6 yards.
Definitely hard to see. In fact, Poca hides the football real well. Typical Poca run there in that they tend to go right up the gut when they need the touchdown, Dave. They go to Kinder. He runs right up center, gets the score.
Well, Wes Browning is the holder, and Jonathan McCormick's kick is up, and it's good. So the Poca Dots trying to become the first team in West Virginia to win 3 consecutive Class AA championships. Draw first blood. 9:45 to go until halftime. The Dots behind a 6-yard touchdown run by Fletcher Kinder lead the Bluefield Beavers 7-0. Now with a 7-0 lead. Fred Simon knows all about Poca. Of course, they played them last year in the playoffs. And Simon was at Poca's O.O. White Stadium last Saturday scouting the Dots' 24-2 semifinal victory over Mount View. And after the game, he exchanged game tapes with Bob Lemley and the coaching staff. So he's seen most of Poca's stuff.
Yeah, he's seen most of it. And of course, that Sunday is usually the day that most coaches go to Parkersburg to exchange coaches and have their exchange tapes rather, and have their meeting. But Coach Simon said, well, what the heck, let's just make a day of it and go see our opponent.
Bluefield's in their 5th Class AA championship game. They won in 1997, but they lost in 95. They lost in 99, and last year they lost. But, you know, last year when they played Poca, they were a number 9 seed. This year, they're the top seed.
Yeah, they are.
And in Class AAA competition, they've won every time they got to the finals. They're 6-0 in Class AAA championship games, winning at 59, 62, 65, 67, 75, and 84. Another short kick. Nearly the corner for Purdue. 12-yard return by David Purdue, the junior, who rushed for just short of 600 yards this season. Now the Beavers will try to get even. Try to put together a long drive to score and answer Poca's touchdown. Scoring drive for the Poca Dots of Bob Lemley. 9 plays, 82 yards. They covered that span in just under 4 minutes, and it was Fletcher Kinder with a 6-yard touchdown run.
It'd be good for Bluefield's kids, Dave, if they can come back and answer the bell now. Answer that score and tie this thing up as we near the locker room.
First and 10 for Bluefield at the 41-yard line. Outstanding starting field position here. Here's Purdue trying to get the corner. And that was outstanding penetration by Jonathan McCormick. McCormick came up and just blew the play up.
Stiff arm. The stiff arm made that. When he came around the corner, just put his right arm out and made a few more yards with it.
Picked up 2 yards, and that was good. That was a good carry for Purdue because McCormick had excellent penetration that time. It'll be 2nd down and 8. You can see Purdue's been busy, averaging over 7 yards a carry here in the first half. Coburn. This is Purdue in motion. They fake it to Purdue, and they hand off to Martin. Martin's got all kinds of room. Trying to get the corner. He is gone. Chris Martin's going to take it for a 57-yard touchdown run for Bluefield.
What about that? Did we just call for a touchdown, Dave? How about that? And he responds.
Chris Martin, the 5'9", 153-pound senior. He ran for 2 touchdowns in the regular season. I'd have to say that's probably the biggest run he's ever had. That's a 57-yard touchdown run to tie this game. Yeah, we're on the verge of tying it.
That's anyway. A playoff touchdown. You see big players make big plays in big games. It's cliche to say, but it's true.
So Chris Martin with the touchdown run, and Lucas Stone is on to add the extra point. Ryan Albert is the snapper, and Matthew James is the holder. And Stone puts it on up and through. So Stone now on extra point attempts here in the playoffs. He is 17 out of 20. And it ties the game at 7.
Taking another look at this one. It's Chris Martin taking the handoff. Got his blockers pushing polka dots out of the way, and he just carries the thing like a loaf of bread. Once he gets through the line, maybe 2 or 3 steps, there's nobody who can catch him. He's just gone to the house to tie the football game.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things, Sean, where look at the number of weapons they have, and there goes Martin for the score.
Yeah, he really is, and that's what we were talking about. You see Poca just couldn't run to the ball fast enough. He's just that quick side to side, and like we said, once he got into the open air, he was gone. Nobody was going to grab him.
Well, Martin had 2 touchdown runs in the regular season, but he has really come on in the playoffs against Oak Hill. He had 3 touchdowns, including a 58-yard run. There you see the scoring drive, short but efficient. 2 plays, 59 yards in 63 seconds. Martin with a 57-yard touchdown run. We'll talk more about the Beavers in a moment, but we'll step aside from Wheeling with the game tied at 7. This is the West Virginia Class AA championship game. Well, Bob Lemley now trying to pick out a good play as the Bluefield Beavers answer Poca's first touchdown with a touchdown of their own. Fred Simon saw Chris Martin take it 57 yards for a score. How about that formation for a kickoff? Poca with the football. And that ball's loose.
Bluefield says they have it.
Bluefield's got it.
Yep.
And the recovery was made by Kelly Mariotti.
Well, he's one of the guys we featured in our open, Dave. We talked about his proficiency on defense, and now we see what he can do on special teams.
James Pullen with the ball.
Yep, you see Pullen, and he just doesn't have it. Falls out of his left hand when he takes the hit, and Mariotti falls on it to recover for Bluefield. And that's momentum at play, isn't it?
Yep, Ryan Albert made the strip, and Mariotti made the recovery. So after Poca grabbed the lead, Bluefield finds the momentum squarely on their shoulders now. Here's Martin. First carry since the 57-yard touchdown run. Crossbuck action. Picks up about 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Dave, not to toot our own horn, but one thing we were right about in the open, we haven't seen too many passes. That I can count, we've had 2 pass plays this evening. One was for a Poca first down. The other was that 4th down play, but that Bluefield had that fell short.
Well, Rusty Coburn hasn't thrown the ball tonight, the Bluefield quarterback. In
I don't
fact,
know if you'll see it.
He hasn't thrown a pass since the first half of last week's semifinal game against Westside. Bluefield did not throw a pass in the second half.
We're not being critical. It works.
2nd down and 8. Martin in motion. Fumble. And it looks like the Dots have it back. The Dots have it back. The exchange from Daniel Wells never got to Rusty Coburn,
Looks like
and the
Steve White.
recovery was made by Steve White.
On the recovery, Steve White for the Dots.
That could be a wet football play, Dave. It's awfully sloppy tonight.
So that's a big opportunity that goes by the board for Bluefield, and Poca has the football back. 1st and 10 from the 36.
There are a lot of problems holding on to the ball right now, Dave. Taking another look at that one, of course. Here's the snap, and the quarterback never quite gets it in his hand. Football's on the ground, and it's just anybody's ball game at that point.
Coming back to the live action, Sandmeyer carrying tacklers. Coburn and Quentin Steptoe combined to bring him down, but not before he picks up 5 yards. Of course, the Polka Dots going for a three-peat tonight, and only 6 Dots have started on all 3 of those teams. Sandmeyer, Tony Sotelo, Jared Smith, Stephen Holmes, Wes Browning, and Steve White. Despite that, this is really a relatively young Poca team. More on that in a sec. Not much running room in the middle that time, as the line led by Davin Williams makes the stop for Bluefield. Consider Poca is going for a three-peat, but this football team has only 8 seniors.
Only 8 seniors, and Dave, I remember being at Poca's first practice back in the preseason in August, when incidentally the weather was a lot better than it is here tonight. But one of the things that Bob Lemley wanted to concentrate on this year was finding a quarterback. Of course, he lost Alan Berry from last year's championship team. Jake Shamblin has stepped in and done a nice job.
Here's Jake Shamblin on 3rd and 5. They're going to run it again. It's Sandmeyer, and he's got the first down. Sandmeyer is up to the 49-yard line. That's a gain of 8. And Sandmeyer is down.
Get on the stop.
Well, going to the replay, Dave, there's a hop step in there, but he really ducked his shoulder at the end of the play to try to make another extra step or two. There's him ducking his shoulder a little there, and I wouldn't be too surprised if that didn't hurt a little bit. I hope he's all right. Yeah, his head flew off.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Super 6 Football Committee in the West Virginia SSAC.
So Matt Sandmeyer remains on the turf right at midfield after that 8-yard gain, and of course he's had just an unbelievable career for the Polka Dots on both sides of the football. Let's see if, Sean, let's take another look at this run by Sandmeyer and see if we can pick up the injury.
Let's see if we can figure out what this is. Not quite sure what that was. You have any idea what that might have been?
I'm not sure, and what's really curious
Maybe a shoulder?
is Bluefield has a player that is having a little problem too. Mariotti is having a little problem on the sideline. Here's another look. Sandmeyer, number 1 with a football. He's carrying the football in the right hand. It looks like Mariotti was the one that may have delivered the hit.
May have gotten the worst end of that hit.
And now Sandmeyer is on his feet.
That's good to see.
You know, Bob Lemley talked about this. I mean, Sandmeyer is only 5'8", 163 pounds, and there have been times over the last couple of years when he's been the feature back at Poca where he hasn't been available for practice. But Bob Lemley told us earlier this week, you know, sometimes on Friday night they just put some duct tape on him and he finds a way to answer the bell.
Well, there's a lot to that because we talked to him earlier in the season, Dave, and he's really an extreme guy. He's not the biggest guy in the world, 163 pounds only after breakfast, but he talked a lot about his attraction to extreme sports. He likes mountain climbing, he likes to climb rocks, he likes to ski, he likes to snowboard. This is a tough guy. Those are not games for the meek.
Sandmeyer, 10 carries, 72 yards here in the first half. So 1st and 10, the football at midfield. Here's the pitch. Going to go outside with Steve White. And the ball's on the ground. And Poca's fumbled the football, and Bluefield has made the recovery. Davin Williams.
Yep. Big Davin, the senior, stepping up to make the play, Dave.
Yeah. That's his second fumble recovery of the year.
Well, we could have a lot more of these before the night's done. What is that already? 3 fumbles, Dave? 3 fumbles lost, I believe it was. Here's White getting hit there and drops the football, and Davin falls on it, recovers the football for Fred Simon and his crew, and they'll take over.
And you know, Coburn, the quarterback, continues to have a great night defensively. White was carrying the football with his left hand. That's the correct hand, but Coburn was able to strip that ball away. Coburn now with 9 tackles. And he caused that fumble, and Williams made the recovery. 1st and 10 for Bluefield. Here's the handoff to Steele. Steele with a stiff arm, and give him forward progress up to the 46-yard line of the Dots.
Well, you may not see him fumble tonight. He's only lost 3 of them on the year, but on this field, I guess you could understand anybody dropping the ball. Tore off one for 50 against Mountain View, as I remember.
Yep, he certainly did. For the season, Steele leads the Beavers with 953 yards and 15 touchdowns heading into play tonight. How about Coburn? That's when he's on defense.
Wow. I could do it all.
Yeah, he certainly can. Purdue in motion. Here's Martin. Martin tries the cutback, and not much running room that time, and it was Stephen Holmes who really blew the play up for the Dots.
Tried to spin away from the tackler there, did Martin. Tried to make an extra step or two, just not enough to get away from the gang tackle.
Holmes, 5'10", 223, a senior. Switched back and forth between the defensive line and linebacker in his Dots career, and now finally as a senior really flourishing on the interior line. 3rd down and 2. From the Dot 45. This is Steele, and Steele did not make the marker. Gets to the 45-yard line, but no more.
Brings up another 4th down for Bluefield.
Steve White made the stop. White, a very sure tackler, 6'3", 241, wrapped up Steele.
4th down.
And Fred Simon's going to send the punt team on. Clock continues to click down near the 4-minute mark here in the first half. We're tied at 7. Barely got that one away. And a flag is going to come out. Roughing the kicker is going to be called against the Dots. You know, the Dots have really done a lot of great things on special teams this year. They get great pressure from the edge by Sotelo and Santmeyer, but Santmeyer's on the sidelines right now. But that time, they're going to be called for roughing the kicker, and that's going to give Bluefield a 1st down.
Going to be interesting to see this call, Dave. But Simon probably happy to get this penalty, of course. Not much of a catch there as far as the long snap goes, but nonetheless, he takes the hit, and it's good for his team.
Jonathan McCormick.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker. Here.
John Captain from the Eastern Panhandle is our referee tonight. Maybe the happiest man on the Beaver squad right now is the snapper, Ryan Albert. He bounced that football back there.
He got away with one.
So Bluefield uses the penalty. And you can see Steve White imploring the Dot fans on hand tonight to get behind the defense. They need their help. And Bluefield is going to call a timeout. 3:54 to go in the first half. Bluefield driving. The Beavers and the Polka Dots tied at 7. And Poca tied at 7. The Beavers are driving. 1st and 10 from the Dot 30. Both teams with 2 timeouts remaining here in the first half. Here's Martin, who scored the touchdown for the Beavers. Slips 2 tackles. And he takes it down to the 25-yard line. It's a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5. That little cross-buck action, both of these teams employing that tonight, Sean, and it's working on this drop for Bluefield.
Well, it is, and it's just about all you can do on a surface like this. I know we're going on and on about the swampy conditions out there, but you know, we laughed earlier that we hadn't seen many passes. You're not going to see them. Bluefield keeps the ball on the ground, and they do it very well.
Martin, 5 carries, 68 yards thus far. He's got that 57-yard touchdown run. He's averaging 13.6 yards per carry here in the first half. Steele a lone setback. And Steele gets it, and it's kind of an odd-looking play. Give him a gain of 3 as he gets down near the 22-yard line. Let's head down to the field and talk to Steve McGehee for an injury update on Poca star Matt Santmeyer. Steve?
Well, Dave, Matt Santmeyer's pacing the sidelines right now. He's ready to get back in the ball game. He had a stinger in the back of his neck. The medical doctors for Poca checked him out. He's A-OK to play some football, so expect Matt to come back out when they get the ball on offense.
All right, Steve, thanks. That's good news for Dots fans. And Kelly Mariotti, the guy who lowered the boom on Santmeyer, that the hit that knocked him out of the game, he had to leave the game for a play with a stinger, but he's back in there as well.
Heck of a hit, some serious impact if it hurt 2 guys. And that collective sigh of relief you heard just came from the Poca sideline, because my goodness, they can hardly afford to lose their tailback.
Well, he's one of their best defensive backs, sure, but he is on the sidelines right now as Bluefield has a 3rd and 3 from the dot 23. Under 2.5 minutes to go first half. Here's Steele trying the left side. And it's going to be 4th down. 4th down and about a yard. And stick with us at halftime. Interesting things coming up. We'll take a look at this fabulous group of Bluefield Beavers seniors. We'll have a closer look at Matt Santmeyer, the outstanding running back and defensive back for the Polka Dots. And of course, we'll check all the stats and highlights of a very curious first half of football.
Delicate choice of words.
So here we go again. It's another big 4th down play. 4th and a little over a yard from the 22. And we've got flags down. And it looks as if maybe the play clock had expired on Bluefield. We'll have to check it out.
Flag on the field.
And delay game is the call against the Beavers. So move it back 5 yards to the 27-yard line. And Bluefield's going to go for it on 4th down again. Really can't kick a field goal in the conditions. And
that'd be a long high school kick anyway, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no use to punt. So on 4th and 7, Bluefield will go for it again on 4th down
as well.
They're going to go with 2 wide receivers this time. And Chris Martin, who already scored the touchdown, is split out wide to the right. They'll go from the gun. And it's a middle screen. It's in and out of the hands of Steele. And the Beavers appeared to have that play well set up. He had 2 blockers in front. Steele wanted to run before he secured the football. The pass goes incomplete.
You don't see this very often. Bluefield throwing the football, especially on 4th down. Of course, 4th and long. Don't have a whole lot of choice. You've got to throw it. And, well, Coburn throwing the football. Steele had it, like you said. He had it in his fingers. And that batted ball, it looked like a couple of guys might have a chance to grab it. They just need to turn around and look.
Couldn't do it. Did not get it done. So Bluefield is 0 for 3 here in the first half on 4th down in this championship game. So the Dots will take over at their own 27-yard line. Trying the left side. And you can see Bob Lemley set to run the play into the game. Josh Odell will bring it in. You can see Bluefield with the edge in the total yards, but how about the Beavers with no passing yards tonight?
It's not a big surprise, is it? I didn't think we'd see as many passes as we've seen out of either of these teams.
Under a minute to go in the first half. 2nd down and 10. Here's Santmeyer. Santmeyer got a good block at the point of attack. A flag is down, and Santmeyer is down as he reaches the 33-yard line.
Kelly Mariotti in on the stop for the Beavers. Flag on the field.
And that'll be a holding call upcoming against Poca. Poca really didn't have too many penalty problems last week in their semifinal win over Mount View. But they were penalized 11 times for 81 yards in their playoff win over Ravenswood.
We have illegal block in the back on White.
And of those 81 yards penalized in the win over Ravenswood, they had 3 holding calls in that game and 6 false starts.
Well, if you're Bob Lemley, you'd like to see your guys get a score to go into the locker room, but my goodness, now you're pushed back, and it's going to be that much harder. Add the weather in, and it gets very difficult.
Second down and 22. Second down about halfway to Wellsburg. Handoff inside, and it's Browning. And Browning just had nowhere to go. Brenton Pinnell, the senior, the returning all-stater for the Bluefield Beavers, was right there to clog things up in the middle. And Bluefield calls a timeout. So Bluefield looks like they could get the football back in outstanding field position. It's third down now and 22. So Sean, what's the strategy here? Keep the ball on the ground?
Strategy here, yeah, definitely. And like we said earlier, it's not a bad thing to kick the football away. You just don't want to give anything up if you're Bob Lemley. Obviously, if you're Bluefield, you'd like to get it back, and you'd like to try to take a shot or two at the end zone. We've seen their quarterback can throw it. It's just a matter if anybody can get under it.
Well, Poca, of course, started this run of championships with a win over the Bridgeport Indians in 2001. They're trying to become the first AA team to three-peat. Now, we have seen three-peats in West Virginia's other classes, and of course, West Virginia went to three separate classes in 1958. Charleston High did it in 1968, 69, and 70, and Sistersville, 1984 through 86, and Moorfield holds the record, 4 in a row.
Boy, Moorfield is really the big one, Dave. I'm looking at their years right now, 2001, 99, 98, 97, all the way back to 96. They have quite a run going in single A.
We'll hear from Bob Lemley before the Dots head back to the locker room at halftime. 3rd and 22. Here's the call. And it's Browning. And Browning is dragged down from behind by T.J. Morris. And immediately the Beavers call their final timeout.
Well, you see Morris closing in on the guy with the football here. Really never takes his eye off him, just catches him from behind, pulls him down, and gives him a face full of snow. Only 5'11" and 166, but he uses his speed really well. That's an example of what he can do.
This Bluefield defense held Matt Sampmeyer to just 52 yards on 21 carries in last year's championship game, but that's a little consolation considering the fact that Dots won the title. Sampmeyer's had a good first half, 72 yards rushing the football. Well, 23 seconds left. Gotta believe that the punt block will be on for Bluefield.
Yeah, you block one here and you're really in the house for some good things to happen.
So Sotelo back to punt the football for Bluefield, for Poca Dots, rather.
Would you like to have to tackle a punter as big as Sotelo, Dave?
Sotelo is huge. And I'm not underestimating that. He's 6'5", 235. That's why he's getting quite a few looks from colleges. So he is 3rd punt. Gets it off. Picked up at midfield. And boy, you can tell it is very slippery out there. And the return was made by Mariotti. So Mariotti returns the punt to the 36-yard line of the Dots.
Looked like he was going to be brought down with his first tackle. That was Kinder who missed, and the second guy does as well. Just really dove forward there into the slush and made himself an extra yard or two, Dave.
And we've got a penalty pending against Bluefield. It's holding against the Beavers. That's going to negate the good return. We could see Mariotti, though, when he fielded the ball and tried to go to the left. When he put on the brakes, he skidded about 5 yards.
Yeah, the snow tires aren't on today.
Illegal block in the back on red during the run back. 1st down.
So the penalty is marked off from the point of the infraction, and the line of scrimmage is now the dot 45. 12 seconds left. Well, Coburn hasn't thrown a pass in nearly a game if you count the second half of last week's game against Westside. The Renegades, is he going to put it up here?
We might see one here.
Nope. Going to take a knee.
Perhaps better to just savor the tie and get in the locker room and set it up for another 30.
All right, we're at halftime, tied at 7. Let's send it down to Steve McGee, who's standing by with Bob Lemley of the Dots.
Well, Coach, it's 7-all at halftime. Is that what you expected?
Pretty much, you know, the field condition is pretty tough out there. You know, it's tough to hang on the ball. It's real wet, and our fingers getting cold and all like that. But, you know, a break or two is going to determine this ball game, I think.
Are the field conditions changing your mind on the play calling out there?
Yeah, it really is. There's certain things you can do, but there's a lot of things you can't do. So, you know, we're just going to have to pick out something, a little weak spot here and there, and see if we can take advantage of it.
Real quickly, what's the game plan for second half?
Well, second half, you know, we're going to have to stop their counter play. You know, they scored on that quick one out there, maybe a little laser move, and they got some speed. So, you know, we got to get on offense and stay on offense a little bit. We turned the ball over too much that first half.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot for joining us. Good luck second half. Back up top.
All right, Steve, thanks a lot. We got to get Steve McGee a hat.
We've got to get him a toboggan or something. And, you know, he mentioned turnovers. He says the Poca's turned the ball over too much. Hey, there's turnovers all over this football field tonight. The matter is just to survive, not really to conquest.
Our halftime activities are next. We're at halftime of the West Virginia Class AA Championship game. Poca and Bluefield tied at 7. Halftime of the West Virginia Class AA Championship game. The Polka Dots and the top-seeded Bluefield Beavers are tied at 7. Dave Weekly, Sean McDowell here in Wheeling, and Sean's been an outstanding first half.
Yeah, it may be a good night for Ducks. The trouble is to hold on to the football. It's a cold, frosty night in Wheeling. Of course, lots of snow on the football field. We've had a lot of fumbles. Admittedly, people have had trouble holding on to the football game, but this is competitive ball.
Well, Polka Dots trying to make some history here tonight, trying to become the first West Virginia Class AA team to three-peat. And one of the main reasons they're playing in Wheeling tonight is their outstanding senior running back and defensive back, Matt Santmeyer. Santmeyer has had a fabulous senior season. He'd love to go out as a champion. Our Steve McGee has more on the talented Polka tailback.
Every great football team needs at least one workhorse. The one for Poca sports #1, senior running back Matt Santmeyer.
It means a lot to the offense. He carries the ball probably 30, 40 times a game. He's a great runner. He's a great athlete and a great talent.
His numbers are astounding leading up to the AA rematch with Bluefield. 28 touchdowns and over 2,000 yards rushing this season. When he's running with the football, his main objective is to make the other guy miss. And that usually happens more times than not.
It's not really moves, just quick feet and cutting, and just the matter of getting somebody going one way and being able to cut back the other way before they do. And just vision and being able to see the hole before it even opens.
I got guys coming up to me and said, "Man, did you see him run?" I said, "Yeah, I watch him every day." And on the videos and things, I'll run slow motion. You'll say, you know, how do you get out of that? You know, it's like getting out of a phone booth sometimes without getting touched. And he's really got a knack for it, and it's just fun to watch him.
I've just done that since I was little. I didn't think I ever did anything special, really. But everybody tells me I do, but that's just what I've done since I was little. I guess it's just natural. And but I have always admired Barry Sanders, and he's always been one of my heroes.
Lost in all his amazing stats on offense is his great play on defense. When the ball is in the air, there's a pretty good chance #1 is around.
Last week he had 3 interceptions. He's probably had 10 this year. The thing about him, he's pretty smart defensive player. Sometimes he tries to outguess himself occasionally on some pass coverages, but all in all, he does a really great job. And he's a good tackler too.
I like to give licks just as much as I take them. So, yeah, it's always a good thing to be able to give some back to the other team.
A player with all-around talents doesn't come along too often. When next season rolls around, someone will have some big shoes to fill, trying to replace the efforts of Matt Santmeyer.
We're going to hate to lose him. He's really been a credit to our football team and to the school. He's a good kid, and we're going to hate to lose him.
All right, right, Steve, thanks for that story. Outstanding story and an outstanding subject, Matt Santmeyer. Glad Steve put that part in about the 3 interceptions he had last week against Mount View. Well, Santmeyer, Sean, has had a great first half, 10 carries, 72 yards, but Poca fans had to hold their breath. It looked like he would possibly have to leave the game after this hit by Kelly Mariotti.
A little relief came when we saw Santmeyer hop up from this play. Of course, Mariotti giving him the pop. Santmeyer slow to get up, and even Mariotti took a stinger on that play. He banged up his shoulder pretty well with that hit.
Both those guys, though, are in, and we anticipate we'll see them in the second half. Well, the Bluefield Beavers of Fred Simon, they're the top seed in West Virginia Class AA. They lost to the Polka Dots here at Wheeling Island Stadium last year. They'd love to get some revenge and win this championship. And for Bluefield, this is a very special group of seniors that are playing their last high school football game tonight.
Friday's Class AA title game is not only a rematch, it's more like a chess match. The two teams know each other inside and out, forcing Bluefield to change up a few details. One element Coach Simon is harping on is for players to pay close attention to detail.
Well, it's very important. It's this game here is bigger than most, I can tell you that.
One little mistake can kill you in a game like this, and we're going out and we're being as prepared as we possibly can.
If you look Bluefield in the face, they're intense. The key will be to carry over the intensity of Friday's game after an all-day bus ride.
We're going up there with the mindset this year to win. We were kind of in awe last year, you know, since it was our first year being up there, and this year it's more business-like, and we're going up there to take care of business.
Well, we're trying to shore up some things offensively and defensively in our special teams. So you're working on all phases of your game, and hopefully it'll come out on a good note.
Just like last year's Class 2A title game, weather will play a factor. And if the game ends on a special teams play, Bluefield kicker Lucas Stone is ready to deliver if called upon to kick a field goal.
I'm ready. I hope it's not a close game. It's more fun to blow people out. But well, I'm ready, and everyone else is ready, so we'll do what it takes.
25 players on the roster this year were on last year's team and recall the final outcome of Poca winning a state title in 2002.
We have to go in with the mindset of just taking care of business, and we know they're a good team. We know they got Santmeyer and Sotelo. So we're going up there and we're just trying to take care of the game ahead and not reading too much into what's said.
You know, Alan Berry made some nice plays. You know, in crucial situations, he came through with some super plays, and they did a good job on 3rd down and 4th down of hurting us. So, you know, we've got to do a better job of that this year.
The Super 6 in Wheeling has been their goal since the season started. Only this year they hope to bring home a title and not just a memory of playing in a championship game.
Honestly, I just don't think we were fully prepared for the game. After the game, everybody was disappointed. But ever since then, we've all been looking towards this year. And it's real positive now, and I think we're going to come out with, you know, positive this time.
Comment on your teammates, guys. Are you working a little bit extra harder this time around?
Oh, yeah. We're going to be a lot more prepared this year. And once we get up there to Wheeling, we're going to be ready to go.
Drew Powell reporting.
All right, thanks, Drew Powell, for that story. And, you know, it's odd. We were seeing the highlight footage of Bluefield practice. They ran that same halfback pass to the end zone in the first half. Didn't work against the Dot defense.
Similar. I think there was a handoff in the one we saw tonight, but it was like deja vu there for a moment. Of course, that play fell a little short. They were going for it on 4th and long.
We're tied at 7 at halftime, and fumbles have been a big part of this game, as you might imagine. Davin Williams played a big role, as did Kelly Mariotti in the first half of the Bluefield Beavers. We're back to Wheeling Island Stadium in a moment. The West Virginia Super 6 championship games are being brought to you tonight by Dodge and your local Dodge dealers. Grab life by the horns. And by West Banco. Well, we're tied at 7 in a game that really has been dominated by the weather. Field conditions have been very, very tough.
The sportscasters are lonely tonight. The weatherman's having a field day, though, Dave.
Sean, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats from the first half of action. And look at the bottom. Third down conversion. These two teams have only combined to convert 1 third down in the first half.
Well, that makes a coach's head ring, really, when you see these turnovers that you're seeing on your screen. A pair of them for Poca, only 1 for the Beavers. But when you get a turnover rather than give one, when you get one and you don't score off it, boy, that really makes you upset. It makes both sidelines sort of scratch their heads, I guess.
And if you take a look at the passing yards, all 21 passing yards for Poca came on that 4th down conversion.
And that's an interesting number. 0 passing yards for the Beavers. I know they're not known for their passing game, but obviously they threw the 1 pass, but it didn't go for anything.
And Fletcher Kinder was on the receiving end of that 4th down play for 21 yards, and then he scored on a 6-yard touchdown run that gave Poca a brief 7-0 lead. And then the Beavers came right back on a 57-yard run by Chris Martin to tie the game at 7. And that's where we stand right now. And as far as the Dots quarterback is concerned, you know, Jake Shamblin last week, his first pass attempt against Mount View was intercepted. And that wasn't the way to start. And they had some problems with the exchange. And there's no question, and Bob Lumley has pointed this out, that he's been feeling a little bit of the pressure in there. He's getting some advice from Steve McGee. I don't know if that's such a good idea.
But he's looking for hot chocolate from Stevie. He had the one nice pass play tonight that went for 21 yards, and I think we're going to see more of that from Shamblin tonight. But let me say this as the half starts. I think what we need to see in this game, we need for one team, either Bluefield or Poca, one of these teams needs to find some momentum. We couldn't see either team get anything going, or at least get anything they could sustain and hang their hat on.
Yeah, Shamblin fumbled the snap 5 times, lost 2 of them last week, but he's done a good job handling the football for the Dots, and this might be a sign of things to come. Last year, Alan Berry, the departed quarterback for the Polka Dots, had his best passing game of the year in the championship game. We've still got another half to go. And the Bluefield Beavers will get the football first as we are set to begin the second half of the West Virginia Class AA championship game. Now, that sends a message to me that this will not be a kickoff that's going to go down the field.
Yeah, you're not going to see this be a moonball, Dave. Actually, I noticed Poca was doing that a little bit in the first half. And I guess really that's the only way you can get the thing to stay up with the wind blowing the way it is.
Well, here we are, a half to go. These two teams, outstanding programs, tied. It might be a situation where a mistake could determine a state championship. And the ball is down at the 37-yard line, and that's where the Bluefield Beavers will start 1st and 10.
Bluefield Beavers, they'll take over. It's 1st down and 10.
And for Bluefield, T.J. Morris got on that football and secured it. Now here comes the offensive unit for the Bluefield Beavers to begin the 3rd quarter in a game that is tied at 7.
No big mystery who's going to get the football here, is it? Definitely, that thing's going to go to number 33, Dave.
Jose Steele in the first half, 8 carries, 33 yards. And there's Steele, as you anticipated, got the football first, and he didn't really fool the Poca defense much either. Fletcher Kinder led a trio of defenders on the stop. Jesse Looper, 6'3", 220-pound senior, also in there on the stop.
They'll call it.
No gain, 2nd down and 10.
Ball on the 37.
You know, the weather conditions here in Wheeling, we had a lot of hard blowing snow early in the game, but the snow is really not coming down nearly as hard now as it did at kickoff.
Oh, the first half was just abominable. It was really, really an experience of the elements, and like you say, it's tapered off a little bit this time.
Coburn with the pitch to Steele, and Steele following his blockers beautifully down the sideline, got a great block from Mariotti, and he's going to take it for the Bluefield touchdown. That's a 63-yard touchdown run by Jose Steele. Boy, and when we take another look at that one, Sean, he read the blocks beautifully as he got to the left sideline and tight-roped it down the sideline past his Beaver teammates into the end zone to give Bluefield their first lead of the night.
Like you say, used his blocks really well on this one as he worked his way toward the sideline. We go to the replay now. Just following number 66 there, the big guy, just getting behind Davin Williams and using him found his way to the open, tiptoes down the sideline, and how about the big block there, the one last saving block by Mariotti? That really made the difference in a 50-yard gainer and a 67-yard touchdown.
Out of the Matthew James hold.
Steele takes it in for the score. So Bluefield's in front for the first time tonight. Lucas Stone adds the extra point.
63 yards. Beg your pardon.
Bluefield Beavers on the board once
Well, you can't see the yard mark.
My brain's frozen.
Less than a minute into the second half, Bluefield's got their first lead, 14-7 over Poca. Bluefield has the lead, 14-7, and Sean, when Poca pinched their linebackers in, the Beavers made them pay.
Poca getting a little predictable on defense. They send 8 guys into the box, and, well, Fred Simon saw it coming, and he read the blitz, ran a sweep. One last tackle there, the big guy, Davin Williams, and he's gone to the house to tie this football game. Jose Steele really running up some yards tonight, too. Looking pretty good on offense here. Like we said, that one last block really made the difference in a big gainer and a touchdown.
Jose Steele tonight, 10 carries, 96 yards, 63 of them coming on the touchdown that put the Beavers of Fred Simon in front. 2 plays, 63 yards on the scoring drive, 57 seconds elapsed, and Steele 63 yards for the touchdown.
And Dave, we talked about momentum. We said the one team needed to come out and find their momentum. The question is that what we just saw? Is Bluefield the team who's going to step up and say, we're going to be the AA champions?
Well, apparently a personal foul whistled against Poca following the extra point. So the kickoff comes from the Poca 45. Hello. So Sotelo gets the corner, and Poca really makes good out of a kind of a tough situation on that kickoff.
Sure was. How'd you like to have to bring Sotelo down? We talked about him punting earlier. How'd you like him running right at you with the football?
So the Polka Dots have the football, and they have good field position, and now they find themselves behind for the first time tonight at 14-7. First and 10 for the Dots from their own 38-yard line. That's Santmeyer in the first half, 10 carries for 72 yards. And here comes Santmeyer. He's trying to make the corner. And Mariotti dragged him down, but not before he reaches the 46-yard line of Bluefield. Let's send it down to Steve McGehee, or rather to Drew, who's standing by with Gary Ray, one of the organizers of this outstanding tournament here in Wheeling.
Gary, we're seeing a great game here tonight. I'll tell you, one way to stay warm is doing what you're doing, and that's drink coffee.
That's right, Drew. I tell you, this is a great game. 2 great teams and a great atmosphere for football tonight.
Once again, Wheeling doing a great job rolling out the red carpet.
Folks do a great job here for the kids. They put out the extra effort to make sure they provide a proper football climate for these kids, and we're really impressed with the work they do here to provide this type of situation for them.
And how about this game here tonight? Bluefield just got a touchdown, but Poca's driving. They're knocking on the door.
I tell you, these 2 teams, any moment can explode. They do a great job. They got a great group of kids, and really a good show for the people here tonight.
Folks, it's Gary Ray, and he's drinking coffee. That's one way to stay warm tonight, and that's have a cup of hot coffee.
Good to the last drop.
And a flag comes in late on that first down play at the Bluefield 45-yard line.
Flag on the field.
The flag came in very, very late. John Captain.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on red, 15 yards.
Oh, that's a big call. That's a big call. That's going to move the football down to the 30-yard line.
I didn't catch what that was. I'd be interested to see it again.
Oh, my goodness. Well, the indication from the official, John Captain, was that a throat slash signal was made by one of the Bluefield players, and that's an automatic penalty that's going to cost them 15 yards. I mean, what a critical call here in the second half of a state championship game.
You can't have taunting in a state championship game like that, Dave. It'll cost your team every time. And this is where the chips are really on the table.
First down carry. It's Santmeyer, and he is dragged down by Purdue.
Matt Santmeyer.
And Purdue drags Santmeyer down after a gain of 4 yards.
Making a stop for the Beavers.
Sean, let's see if we can pick up the penalty against Bluefield.
See this again. Looked like it might have been Daniel Wells, number 50 there.
Yep, that was the call, and that was a good call. He definitely did that, and it cost his team 15 yards.
Now, lapse of judgment by the young man. He probably wishes he hadn't done that now.
2nd down and 6. Bluefield at the 26. Sotelo is a tight end on the right side of the formation, and Jake Shamblin calls a timeout. Their first timeout of the second half. Bluefield's driving. Or check it. Poca's driving, but Bluefield still leads 14-7. Down in 6 from the 26, and it's Santmeyer dragging tacklers. He's got the first down, and he is down to the 15-yard line. That's a gain of 11.
Pair of good blocks there in the backfield, by the way. You had one guy going the other, another guy taking out another would-be tackler in the other direction, Dave.
And Santmeyer, with that carry, goes over 100 yards, and so he's done that for 21 of the last 25 games. And now Bluefield wants a timeout. Fred Simon senses the importance of this moment, and so Bluefield burns their first timeout of the second half. We'll take it with the Bluefield Beavers. Poca's driving, perhaps for the tying touchdown. 9:17 to go in the third quarter. Beavers 14, Polka Dots 7. First and 10 for the Polka Dots following the timeout by Bluefield. And they go to the fullback, and he takes it down to the 9-yard line. So that's Steve White, the senior, cracking his way down to the 9. That's a 6-yard gain. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
It's a pretty good example of what Poca can do with a football, Dave, because they hide it really well. Poca's a hard team. You can really judge a team's running game as to how deceptive they are, how well they hide it. And Poca does that really, really well.
Bluefield's defense giving up an average of 118 rushing yards per game in the playoffs. Right now, Poca's got 130, and Santmeyer going for some really important yards down inside the 10-yard line, and he is hog-tied as he reaches the 6. And TJ Morris continues to play a very physical football game for the Bluefield Beavers. Watch this tackle.
The junior TJ Morris kind of grabs Santmeyer by the shoulder here, just pulls him down and says, "Have a snow cone, my man, you're on the turf."
3rd down and 1. On the 7-yard.
3rd down and 1. At the 6. Fumblerooski.
Ball carrier, Jared Smith.
Jared Smith, the left guard, slipped over, took the ball, and he was stopped for no gain. It's going to be 4th and a yard.
It's like Daniel Wells stepping up and making the hit. Of course, he's the player who had the personal foul a few minutes ago.
All right, so here
make amends.
4th and a yard. They lost a little yardage there. Now the ball is back to the 7-yard line, so it's 4th down. Big play in this ball game. And the Bluefield defense is there. They're up to the challenge. Santmeyer could not get the job done, couldn't pick up the first down. Davin Williams led the charge, and the Bluefield defense holds. And what a big stand that is for Bluefield.
Oh, and what about the game Williams is having? He's having a nice outing this season.
What about that call by Poca on 3rd down?
Just speaks to the defense that Bluefield is playing, though, because Poca looked like they were driving pretty well, and lo and behold, Bluefield stepped up, and well, they just wouldn't be tonight.
Well, Bob Lumley decided that he was going to go for it on 4th and short yardage, just outside the 5-yard line. And the defense of the Bluefield Beavers holds. That's a huge play in this game. 1st and 10 now for Bluefield at their own 7-yard line. And obviously, if you're Fred Simon, you want to stay away from the turnovers in this situation. It's Steele. He ran into a steel wall of polka dot defenders. Great defensive play made by Jared Smith. He led the charge.
Well, there you see Steele, like you say, he ran into a steel wall, maybe an iron curtain, because, like you say, a bunch of polka dots stepping up to make the hit there. And Poca would obviously, they'd love to get the football in a decent field position, then make a couple more stops here, and they could get it back. But Bluefield, well, they know how to move the football on the ground, even through the bad weather.
How about that? Look at that snow coming down and grass stains. That's Steve White's a football player. 2nd down and 9. Odd-looking handoff.
Delay.
And White did a good job to Jose Steele did a good job to control that ball, and it was Steve White who made the tackle for Poca. Also helping out on that play, Stephen Holmes. So now it's 3rd down and 10. So if the Dots defense holds on 3rd and long, Poca's going to have great field position for another crack at a potential game-time touchdown. Counting down to 6 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. We were tied at 7 at the half. Bluefield has the only score here in the 3rd quarter, a 63-yard touchdown run by Jose Steele. Here's Martin. And there was briefly a hole, and then Martin was stopped.
That hole closed up, didn't it?
And it's 4th down.
Steve White, Jared Smith.
Let's head down to Steve McGehee, who's got a comment about the emotional status right now of the Dots.
Well, for a couple of series there, it looked like Poca was just going through the motions. Obviously, Coach Lemley told his defense, told him, go out there, play some football, play smart. And it really showed on that series, shutting Bluefield now deep in their own territory, trying to punt from their own end zone. Guys?
All right, thanks, Steve. So Lucas Stone will punt the football.
Think the block team will be in, Dave?
It was bounced back to Stone again, and again he made a good play just to control that ball, and it will roll dead at the 43-yard line. That's a 31-yard punt, no return.
Poca dodged a serious bullet there, David. Looked like Bluefield looked like they were going to move the ball out of their own territory there.
Well, great operating field position for Jake Shamblin, the quarterback of the Poca Dots. Shamblin has only attempted 1 pass tonight, and it was a 21-yard reception to Fletcher Kinder, and it set up Kinder's 6-yard touchdown run. That's the only score of the night to this point for Bluefield. 1st and 10 from the 43. Here's Sandmeyer.
Looks like the snow's picking up a little too there.
Wind as well as Sandmeyer slides his way down near the 41-yard line.
Well, gain of 3. You can really see the snowfall when you look up into the lighting structures here at the stadium too.
Poca shuffles the plays in.
Don't call it a gain of 2, 2nd and 8, on the 42.
Sandmeyer with that carry, 17 carries tonight, 109 yards. 2nd and 7. Here's the pitch. And it's Kinder. And flags are down. Kinder will go across the 40-yard line. Oh, I thought I saw a flag. Apparently not.
Oh, I did too.
To the 39-yard line of the Bluefield Beavers. Jake Shamblin has a tendency to get a little nervous before games, doesn't he, Steve McGehee?
All right, interesting story concerning Jake Shamblin, the quarterback for Poca High School. Ever since the season started, of course, a lot of players and coaches have pregame rituals. For Jake Shamblin, his pregame ritual, a little different. He vomits before every game, not once, but a couple of times. And tonight, he said he vomited several times, and right now, he probably have a few butterflies with his team trailing by 7 points.
You're exactly right. And Shamblin is now 2 for 2 passing the football. That's the good news. The bad news is that pass did not pick up the 1st down. In fact, it picked up very little yardage, and now it's 4th down and 7.
You might say he kept his cookies with that one.
Yeah, he did. Well, the Dots not sending the punt team out there. Looks like they're going to go for it.
4th down.
Now check it. Now they are back into punt formation. This will be Sotelo, or at least the Dots are in punt formation. Exactly. Handled below snap. Got it away. And the ball just sank in the turf. It just found a stop. It just found a spot and just planted.
Splat.
You know, they count stats inside the 20-yard line. That was under the 20-yard line, literally.
Through the 20-yard line.
That splattered some players. Well, on a serious note, Poca was unable to take advantage of the great field position, and they continue to trail in this game. And obviously, field position becoming very important now. We're under 3 minutes to go in the third. Bluefield's got the lead and the football back. Rusty Coburn, great shot there. He's under center. Martin in motion. Here's Steele. Boy, Steele seems to get better as the game progresses. He wears down the defense. Not much running room that time. Gives Steele a gain of 2. Steele now 13 carries, 98 yards on the game.
It's been a quick football game, Dave.
63 of those yards came in the touchdown that occurred in the inside of the first minute of the third quarter, and that's the difference in the game right now.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, very, very quickly played game. Purdue goes in motion, and the pitch goes to Steele, and Steele will try the right side. Not much success. If you're joining us late, Bluefield had quite a long bus trip to get up here, over 5.5 hours. They arrived a little less than an hour before kickoff tonight.
About 70 minutes before kickoff. Got a late start is what I heard.
That'll be a funny story 20 years from now if they win this game. 3rd down and 5. Coburn, it's another pitch, and it's Steele again. Great penetration by the defense, firing through that time. Jonathan McCormick had great penetration for the dots. He blew the play up, and now Bluefield's going to have to punt the football away. Watch 55 and white.
Yep, 55, McCormick, you say, he just grabs his man there by the foot and brings him down. Says, you're going nowhere, and that's the kind of hit they're going to have to execute if they're going to hope to keep Bluefield in their place and not let him away.
Well, will Lucas Stone have to field this snap on a bounce? He's back in punt formation for the Bluefield Beavers. He's done a great job handling the football. Got a good snap that time and just got it away. Outstanding punt by Lucas Stone. That's a big play in this football game. And that ball is going to come to rest.
Just hits the mush and rolls dead, doesn't it?
46-yard punt, no return. Less than a minute to play here in the third quarter. Poca's got the football, and they trail by a touchdown, 14-7. Offense tonight has been big plays.
It sure has. You had the long run, the 60-yarder or so, 63-yarder for Bluefield, and that was a pretty good play, obviously. Of course, Bluefield had one of 57 yards in the first half as well, and that one tied it.
So now the Dots have the football, 1st and 10 at their own 34. Fresh back. Ooh. Wes Browning had running room, but when he tried to put on the brakes, he just couldn't keep his footing. You can see he understands that very well.
101 carries this year for Browning, probably none as adventurous as that one. Now, like you say, Dave, he tries to put on the brakes here just as he cuts back to his right, and, well, he's down on his fanny. That won't get you any yards.
You know, I got to believe that sometime before this game comes to an end, we're going to see a halfback pass from Matt Santmeyer. Wes Browning caught a pass from Santmeyer against Ravenswood and had a big 38-yard run last week against Mount View. We've come to the end of the third quarter. Fred Simon and the Bluefield Beavers just 12 minutes away from a West Virginia Class AA championship. Bob Lemley and the Dots trying to keep their dream of a three-peat alive. After 3 quarters, it's 14-7 Bluefield. Dodge and your local Dodge dealers. Grab life by the horns. And by Westbanco. Well, you see the snow coming down. It's been coming down continuously through the game. A little lighter now than it was at the beginning of this game. Turf here at Wheeling Island Stadium. Of course, when these two teams last year, it was frozen solid. It was like a rock. Now it's more like a mud bowl.
One big mud pie here on Wheeling Island, and it's only the first of 3 championship games, too. It's going to be chewed up for the other 2.
Got a lot of football coming here this weekend. 12 minutes to go. Ready to start the 4th quarter. The Polka Dots have the football, but they trail 14-7. Fletcher Kinder got the scoring started at 9:45 in the 2nd quarter with a 6-yard touchdown run. Bluefield countered shortly thereafter. Chris Martin went 57 yards for a touchdown. The game was tied at 7 at the half. In the first minute of the 3rd quarter, Jose Steele went 63 yards for a score to make it 14-7, and that's where we stand right now. You can see Steele getting ready to go back in there for more battle. And now Bluefield's going to have to call a timeout before they run a single play in the 3rd quarter. Bluefield has to call a timeout. And the Beavers have only 1 timeout left.
Some form of miscommunication there, Dave. Not sure what was going wrong.
Well, that's an unfortunate situation for the Beavers. They just had time to talk things over in the time between the end of the 3rd quarter and the beginning of the final period, but something was going wrong on that Bluefield defense, and they had to burn a timeout. So the Beavers in this close game, a state championship game, only have 1 timeout remaining.
Well, we're watching Fred Simon in the huddle. He seems sort of frustrated, Dave. Somebody didn't have their assignment there. Somebody didn't understand what was about to happen.
Poca has 2 timeouts remaining. Well, Bob Lemley, 3 championships as the head football coach of the Polka Dots. Of course, won a championship in 1994. And of course, the Dots have won the last 2 years. Let's send it down to Drew. Drew, what caused Bluefield to call that timeout?
Yeah, Bluefield had to call a timeout there before the first play of the 4th quarter. They had a problem with one of the players with his chin straps. They didn't have the right player to substitute in, so they were forced to call a timeout. Coach Simon chewed out the players, but he said, guys, we're only 12 minutes away from winning a Class AA state title. No time now for any sort of mistakes or letdowns. Stay focused and keep the intensity up. And they're going back to Bluefield with a Class 2A title if they can just hold on.
All right. Good information, Drew. Good report.
So it's not communication troubles, it's equipment troubles.
Yeah, it was equipment problem. 2nd down and 7. Here's the pitch to Sandmeyer. Got a great block at the point of attack, trying to get the corner. Kelly Mariotti was there to drag him down, and Coburn was right behind him to make the stop as well. Boy, Sandmeyer just continues to really follow those blocks really well, and Poca really gets out. Their offensive line really gets out and blocks well.
The O-line really runs outside their normal area to make blocks. And you look at Sandmeyer, you would think that he'd be tired now, over 100 yards, but he's still chugging away.
Zach Lanham, the center, just a sophomore, 5'11", 230 pounds. One of those guys, he can get out there and pull as well. Spinning, twisting, trying to get to the 1st down marker. And it's going to be 4th down and a yard. You know, it's really odd when you watch Poca on 4th down. They don't really send the punt team on because everybody that's on the punt team is already out there.
Versatile athletes for sure.
Oh, Rusty Coburn, what a night. 11 tackles. 1.5 TFLs and 2 forced fumbles tonight.
Also leading the offense pretty well. They still lead by 7, and like you mentioned earlier, they're winning with the big play.
How about this? Poca's going to go for it on 4th and a yard from their own 43. Bob Lemley rolling the dice. Shamlin's going to throw. Passes intercepted. Picked off by David Perdue. So the Dots tried just their third pass of the night on 4th down and 1 from their own 43, and Fred Simon sees one of his outstanding players, David Perdue, just a junior, come up with a big interception.
Well, how about Perdue? He reads his man all the way. It doesn't look to me like Shamblin ever looked away from his intended receiver. Perdue only 5'8" and 149, but he's big enough to make a huge play in a big game, Dave.
Big turnover by Poca, and now we'll see if Bluefield can really take command in this game. They have it 1st and 10 at the dot 31. And on 1st down, that's Perdue. You can't even see the back of his jersey because it's all covered with, and his helmet's covered with mud as well.
Looks like Eric Patton making the stop for Poca.
Well, Perdue, 3 tackles and 1 big interception. And the Dots now with 3 turnovers in this championship game.
Well, if they score off this drive, that interception really blows up and looks big.
2nd down and 9. Mariotti splits out wide to the left. Martin in motion. They fake it to Martin. Here's the pass. Too tall, intended for Harry Hanley. First time we talked about Hanley tonight, the senior tight end. No catches in the playoffs and nearly had an outstanding opportunity to make a grab in the championship game.
Put that ball down a little bit and he could make that Hanley catch.
Hanley had a 31-yard catch in the opening game of the year for Bluefield against Grand Virginia. And you kind of got a sense early in the season that Bluefield might be in this championship game as they beat Grand Virginia and then beat West Virginia Class AAA Princeton the following week. 3rd down and 9. Ball's loose. And Poca's got the football.
That's Kinder.
Kinder trying to read the block, still on his feet. He's going to take it. Kinder inside the 5, all the way to the goal line.
I don't see a flag.
Dragged down at the 3. That's a 63-yard fumble return. The ball popped out, and suddenly Kinder was running free.
What a play. What a timely recovery. This one, Poca really needed the momentum to swing their way in this one, Dave. They come up with the big fumble recovery, and Kinder goes trotting the other way with it.
Golden opportunity now for Poca to tie this game.
Boy, Kinder really came to play tonight. Of course, he had the touchdown early in the first half for Poca, and now he makes the big play on defense to set him up for what could be another score.
So the ball came out, a 63-yard fumble return. And here's Santmeyer. Santmeyer sniffing the goal line. He is inside the 1, but not in the end zone. 2nd down and less than a yard. 2nd down and goal for the Poca Dots.
Oh, look at the mud in his helmet.
Santmeyer has scored 32 of Poca's 51 touchdowns this season. That's a record for the Dots. He holds the record for the most touchdowns in Putnam County High School history. And now the Dots are less than a yard from a touchdown that could potentially tie this game. Out of the power I. And a flag is down. There's movement in the offensive line on the right side.
Play clock was about to expire too.
The right, it looked like Brad Roberts moved.
Yeah, the whole defense moved.
Dead ball. False start. All white.
Wow, what an untimely penalty that is.
Yeah, Poca didn't need that one. Momentum was really swinging their way before that happened.
Penalty yards. Poca penalized 4 times, 47 yards. Bluefield 4 flags for 36. So instead of 2nd and goal inside the 1, now it's 2nd and goal at the 6. Big difference.
It is a big difference. It definitely changes the play you might call. It's a little closer. You may just run up the gut and bang it home. Now you may have to sweep or throw it.
Shamblin. It's Santmeyer. Santmeyer avoids one tackle. He did a great job to get inside the 5 and got down near the 3-yard line before Mariotti made the stop.
Mariotti felt good about that stop, but my goodness, he just didn't want to come down.
Mariotti now 8 tackles and 1 big fumble recovery tonight.
Well, here's the play again. You see Santmeyer, and like we were saying, he just didn't want to come down. He breaks the 1 here, and when Mariotti catches him, it looked like Santmeyer may get away from that one, too. Mariotti wrapped him up and brought him down, but my goodness, Santmeyer looks like he's coming strong.
Well, Poca on that carry. Poca has called a timeout. It's 3rd down and goal at the 4. Poca trying to score the tying touchdown. We're back to Wheeling Island Stadium in a moment. Time.
Yep.
7:25 to go in the 4th quarter. The Polka Dots facing 3rd down and goal following the timeout. It's the handoff to Santmeyer, and Santmeyer does not get into the end zone and does well to get back to the line of scrimmage. Give him a gain of maybe a couple of feet, but not much more, and it's 4th and goal at the 4.
Well, he worked hard just to get back to the line on that one, Dave. Now, Poca's definitely in a tough spot. Like you say, 4th and goal on the 4.
Well, on the last 4th down attempt by the Polka Dots, David Perdue came up with a big interception. Now let's see what the Dots have planned here. Poca 1 of 3 on their 4th down conversions tonight. Shamblin, play action, going to the end zone, tosses a touchdown. Tony Sotelo. Tony Sotelo with a touchdown reception, and the Dots are an extra point away from tying this game.
That'd be his 5th on the year, Dave. We were talking about him during the break, that they may go to Sotelo on the fly. If they're going to do it, it'd be the situation to try it. Sotelo brings in what could be the scoring touchdown, or the tying touchdown. Right?
Shamblin to Sotelo. Covered 4 yards. Now Jonathan McCormick will attempt the extra point. Browning is the holder. And he got it, and the game is tied, and a flag comes in.
Well, how big is Kinder with that fumble recovery now, Dave?
6:42 to go in regulation. Here's another look at the touchdown. Tony Sotelo with a touchdown grab. The Polka Dots have tied this game. Touchdown pass, and that's ironic because he does wear number 4. And what a big catch it was. It's tied this West Virginia Class AA championship game at 14. 6:42 to go in the 4th.
Dave, I was teasing Sotelo midway through the season. I said, only got a couple touchdowns. He says, doggone it, they don't throw it to me enough.
Short kick. And Bluefield will not attempt a return. And considering the conditions tonight, I think that's a wise move.
Yeah, definitely. Play it safe.
For the Polka Dots, 4 plays, 3 yards in 2.5 minutes. The big play was the 63-yard fumble return by Kinder.
A wild-looking play, but man, it really came in handy and set up that scoring drive there to tie the football game for Bob Lemley and company.
And Polka has to call their last timeout. They did not have the people on the field they wanted defensively, and Bob Lemley very unhappy. So now the Dots will have to play through the rest of regulation with no timeouts.
Well, you say the rest of regulation, Dave. Anything can happen in a state championship game, can it?
6:41 to go in the 4th. We're all tied at 14 on a snowy night in Wheeling. 6:41 to go in the fourth quarter. Poca and Bluefield tied at 14. This is the West Virginia Class AA championship game. There's Steele trying the left side, and the Dots shut it down for a gain of a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Poca has no timeouts left. Bluefield has 1.
Looked like he faked the toss play before handing it off there.
Jose Steele tonight has rushed 15 times for 100 yards, including that 63-yard touchdown run that put the Beavers in front 14-7. Bluefield, 1 timeout left. That's it. Coburn, the fake. Here's Martin. And Martin's dragged down in the backfield. And it was Steve White. White came through and made a big play for a loss. It'll be 3rd down and long.
White's having a big night on defense, Dave.
That's a big roll of tape on his right hand, too.
Sure
10 tackles, 1 TFL tonight.
Looked like the whole training room on his hand there.
Look at that thing. Loss of nearly 3. It's 3rd down and 12. And if you're Bluefield, do you think about throwing the football here?
Yeah, I think you do. I know they've only thrown a couple of times, but if you're going to do it, this is a good time to try it.
And Bluefield facing 3rd down, and they are 0 for 7 on 3rd down conversions tonight. Burn their final timeout.
A couple of timeouts wasted on silly situations, Dave.
Well, maybe when Coburn came to the line of scrimmage, they were thinking about attempting a pass, and he found that Poca was in exactly the right defense.
Well, you had the situation earlier. I know Bluefield burned one because of a chin strap situation. Poca didn't have the people they wanted on the field in one situation, and they had to use a timeout of their own there to correct that one. So really both teams should have one more timeout on the board.
Poca just tied the score. But do the Dots have the momentum?
You have to feel, really, it feels like an equal game right now, because I really felt like Bluefield was driving the football. They fumbled it. Poca returns it, and just a few plays later they score. So it's hard to say right now where the momentum lies. You'll probably see the answer to that in the next few minutes of football.
Now both teams with no timeouts remaining here in the fourth quarter, tied at 14. Coburn 0 for 2 tonight, passing the football. Martin in motion. Coburn is back to pass. It's a screen, and it should have been picked off by Sotelo. He was right there, and the ball went through his arms. Incomplete. And that's the best thing that could have happened for Bluefield.
Sure is. Big Tony thought he had himself one there. But, you know, again, they're going to step in and punt this thing. But I don't think Bluefield's done with the football. I think they're going to get a last chance to score.
So the line of scrimmage is the Beaver 32-yard line. The Dots should have good field position after this punt by Lucas Stone. And Stone's last punt was a thing of beauty. It was a 46-yarder in these tough conditions with no return.
This one's into the wind.
It's another good punt. So Stone has put 2 good punts up on the board back to back. In these conditions, a 35-yard punt and no return, Bluefield will take that every time.
Absolutely they will. Now it's up to Poca. Can they answer the call now?
Well, I just want to bring this up, that the last state championship game played on this field last year was the Single A championship that went to overtime.
How about that?
That was the first Class Single A title game to ever go to overtime. And we could be looking down the barrel of another overtime game right here.
Is the overtime bug still alive and wheeling?
Sandmeyer doesn't know where to go. And it's Coburn again. Coburn now with a dozen tackles tonight. Look at the mud.
Looks like a Tide commercial, doesn't it? Equipment managers are going to hate watching those.
Meanwhile, the clock continues to run. Both teams without any timeouts. They can't stop it. Loss of a yard. It's 2nd down and 11. Chamblin under center. And for a moment, it looked like Santmeyer was going to get some room, and he is spun down and brought down by Daniel Wells, the junior.
Brought down, yes, but I like the way he falls forward, Dave. It's a sign of a good back when they fall forward and look for that extra half yard or maybe a full yard if you're lucky.
Santmeyer now with 23 carries in this championship game, 121 yards. It's 3rd down and 7. Dots are going to go with 2 wide receivers this time.
Averaging 5 per carry. How about that?
Santmeyer having a nice night. Santmeyer, and there's the pass.
Oh, wow.
Santmeyer with a halfback pass, incomplete. And Mariotti saved the bacon for Bluefield.
No flag on the play. What coverage?
You knew it was coming at some point, and Mariotti knew it too.
Yeah.
And Santmeyer was in heavy traffic when he let go of the football. Really could not get a good pass off, but it was open.
You're the Svengali on that one. It was just a few minutes ago you said, I know we're going to see Poca try a halfback pass. Santmeyer sends this one down, and, well, Bluefield just defends the heck of it. What can you say? He steps in the way and makes the play. Mariotti does.
Josh Odell was the intended receiver, and that's another big play by Bluefield defensively. Sotelo caught the game-time touchdown. Now sends the punt down the field. That's a dangerous play made by Mariotti. Didn't really need to touch that football, but he gets on it back at the 30-yard line. A 34-yard punt, no return by Tony Sotelo.
Hey, Dave, I know we've groused about the weather all night, but honestly, could you ask for more in a state championship game? Tied at 14 all, 3 minutes to go on the clock. Football weather for sure, but my goodness, what a 3.5 quarters we've seen so far.
What about the 2 games these 2 teams have played in back-to-back championships and the weather conditions they played in?
It says a lot about the football product in Class AA, doesn't it?
It's 10 for Bluefield at the 30-yard line. Tied at 14, just over 3 minutes to go in the game. Here's Steele trying to get wide. And he is swarmed over by a host of polka dot tacklers.
Took on a big bunch of blockers there. I think it was 4.
Look at Sotelo. He draws a crowd, doesn't he?
They see him coming, don't they? Sotelo requires a few guys to get him out of the way. 6'5" and full of muscle.
There were 3 Bluefield hats on Sotelo. 2nd down and 10. 2.5 minutes to go in the 4th. Coburn with the throw. Nearly intercepted. Incomplete.
Pass intended for Kelly Mariotti.
Mariotti was the intended receiver. And it was Noodle Patton who made the defensive play and nearly came up with the interception.
Noodle's wet along with the rest of these guys. How about this coverage? Back to pass and sending along. We haven't seen Bluefield try a lot of pass plays, but, well, Noodle stepped in there and almost had him one day.
Well, Patton's listed at 136 pounds as a senior, so you know he can't be a pound over 130.
That's no spaghetti. That's a manicotti.
Bluefield 0 for 8 on 3rd down tonight. Here's Steele. And Steele is brought down shy of the marker. Now, if Poca had any timeouts remaining, they might call one here to stop the clock.
Sure.
Neither team has any time.
And that brings up 4th and 7. What a tough spot. 2 minutes to go in a tie game and a state title matchup.
Well, if you're thinking about overtime, Bluefield has already played an overtime game here in the playoffs. They had to go to 2 overtimes to beat Weir 37-30 in the quarterfinal round. Stone did a great job to field that punt, but he shanked it out of bounds.
Came down in a jacuzzi full of mud there, Dave. Wow. Looked like he had trouble handling the snap a little bit, and it might have come off the side of his foot there. Coming off, and like we said, folks scurrying out of the well. That thing just heads for the tub.
So with 1:45 to go and no timeouts, the Dots have the football at the Bluefield 48. Shamblin looking to throw. Going to tuck it, going to run it, flags down. And it looks like it could be a face mask penalty.
That's about what I was thinking too.
Very Hanley making the stop. Flag on the field.
In the mud and the slush, Coburn really wasn't showing too much speed. No, it's not a face mask penalty. Instead, it's a holding call that's going to be backing up the Dots.
That'll push him back a little.
Coburn seemed to be going in, rather, the quarterback for the Poca Dots, Shamblin, seemed to be going in slow motion.
Did. Everything's going in slow motion right now. Can't afford to go too slow, though. State championship's on the line here.
Illegal block in the back. Here.
Toward the dirtier of the two teams. Uniform-wise.
The football now is all the way back at the Dot 39. And the clock is running. Play action fake. Oh, it actually was a handoff. Swarmed in the backfield. And so the Dots started this drive in Beaver territory, but they're going backwards now. Neither team can stop the clock with a timeout.
Looks like it was Pinnell stepping up to make the hit there.
The second down and 27.
Nearing 1 minute to go, Dave.
Well, it appears as if 4 quarters of football is not going to be enough to determine a champion in Class AA. Santmeyer. It's a double reverse. And the pass is intercepted. It's Martin making the interception. And he's brought down by Wes Browning. So Bob Lemley rolled the dice there. The Dots now with 4 turnovers on the game.
I believe that was J.R. Hill who dropped back to throw the pass there in that little trickeration situation. Well, take a look at it again. This is what you see from Poca. You see a lot of tricky plays, and well, there's Hill to sling it long. A little wobbly coming out. Well, didn't matter in the long run, though. There's Bluefield to take the football away.
Yeah, Bluefield had 3 defenders back.
It did. I think they may have seen it coming.
Would not surprise me to see Bluefield take a knee here and just head to overtime. Oh my goodness. It was a handoff to Purdue, and he tried to get outside to the right and dropped the football, got back on it. And that may be the last snap of regulation.
Well, it has not been a thing of beauty, Dave, but nonetheless, it's a classic.
Well, the temperature is now rising, figuratively and literally. And now that snow is turning into rain. And we're going to overtime. So Bluefield and the Poca Dots are going to overtime to determine the Class AA championship in the state of West Virginia. We're back in a moment to Wheeling Island Stadium. Well, 4 quarters was not enough tonight to determine a champion in West Virginia Class AA. The Poca Dots and the Bluefield Beavers tied at 14. We're going to be heading to overtime. And Drew Powell over there on the Bluefield sideline, they've had some recent history with overtime, haven't they?
That's right, Dave. I'll tell you, Bluefield is no stranger to overtime. This is their second time they've had an overtime game in just a couple of weeks. We all remember it was 2 weeks ago at Mitchell Stadium down in Bluefield when Bluefield and Weir went into not one but a 2 overtime shootout, with Bluefield winning that one 37-30. So the Bluefield Beavers are certainly no stranger to overtime.
No, they certainly aren't, and they really love playing at Mitchell Stadium. They were 8-0 on their home turf this year through the playoffs and the regular season. Now, the strategy here, Sean, is to go on defense first.
Yeah, I guess the idea is to make your stop first. Worry about stopping the other guy and then get your chance to score, right?
Exactly. Well,
yeah.
the point also is when you're on defense, you know what you have to do.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. Who'd have thought this would go to overtime? I know we're matched with 2 even teams here, but my goodness, what a classic we're seeing. Well, it really is.
Here's the point. You know, with different overtime rules in the NFL, in college football, and in high school football, we thought you might like to take a look at the overtime rules. In high school football, you'll begin at the 10-yard line. Each team will each get 4 downs to score. And if tied, play will continue, and there must be a winner.
I like this format. I don't like football ties. I know that's a purist situation, Dave, but don't you love seeing a team go home with the win? And obviously, at the state championship game, you better have a win.
Well, I think we have a problem with that graphic. The ball starts at the 20-yard line. So here we go. So we'll begin at the 20-yard line, and you can get a first down. Dots with the football. Santmeyer, left side. Broke 1 tackle, still on his feet. Inside the 15, down to the 14-yard line. That's a gain of 6 on first down.
Yep, that's what he's been doing all night long, Dave. Just find your hole and twist your way through it. Get your yards as you can.
2nd down and 5. Dots trying to take the lead in this overtime session. We have not had a field goal attempt tonight.
I'd be surprised if we saw one here. It just feels like we're going to see a couple of scores.
Bluefield has one of the best kickers in the state in Lucas Stone. 2nd and 5. Here's the handoff to Browning. Browning going straight up the middle. He's got the first down.
So deceptive with the football.
So Browning with his first carry in a while.
Well, here's what we're talking about. So deceptive in that he fakes the little toss play before handing off to Browning, and Browning fights his way ahead. My goodness, at the resilience there. Just not wanting to be brought down, wanting to keep his feet moving.
1st and goal for the Dots at the 8. We're into our first overtime. Here's Santmeyer, and Santmeyer leaning forward inside the 5, down to about the 4-yard line. So early on in this overtime, the Dots getting a great surge up front. Their offensive line getting the job done. Looper, Smith, Lanham, Holmes, and Roberts, and Tony Sotelo doing the job.
Well, Dave, here inside the goal, the red zone, Poca tends to go to Sotelo, as we saw in that last play, the last scoring play, that is, that Poca had. They threw over the top to Sotelo for the little catch. Might be interesting to see if they try something like that again.
Here's Santmeyer, spinning, twisting, down near the goal line, but not over the goal line.
Down to the 1.
Kelly Mariotti made the stop. You're talking about throwing the football in this situation, Sean. We've had 3 different Poca players throw passes tonight.
We have. And look at this. He gets all the way down to the 1, and it didn't come easily, though. He took some impact there on that last tackle.
3rd down and goal at the 1-yard line. Poca trying to become the first class AA team to three-peat in West Virginia high school football history. It's Santmeyer. Touchdown. Touchdown, Poca Dots. So here comes the extra point attempt by Jonathan McCormick. A 1-yard touchdown run by Sandmeyer. His 33rd touchdown of the year.
Just a tough little run. That seems to be the specialty of the house tonight, Dave. Not a whole lot of beautiful football plays, but nonetheless, they're effective. They're getting the job done out there on both sides of the ball.
Point after very critical in overtime. Kick is up, and he got it through, just through. 21-14.
Bob Lemley's all jacked up after getting that one.
So the Polka Dots are in front for the first time since the second quarter.
Well, here's what we meant by effective plays, but not beautiful. He just sort of leans his way in, really. Almost like he just kept his feet long enough to get in, did Sandmeyer, and that's good enough to get the touchdown and good enough to help Poca get the 7-point lead here in OT.
And in the overtime session, Bluefield will get a possession. They need a touchdown and an extra point to tie.
Boy, and in plays like that, Dave, you really got to give the tip of the helmet to the O-line, because they really make the space, even a little bit of space there, because it's really all you need, just enough to get the guy across the goal line. And how about Sandmeyer? Really, really a big night for him.
You can see the Dots have scored 7 points in overtime and now have a 21-14 lead. Bluefield now with their first crack at the football in overtime. They'll start from the 20. Coburn, play action fake. Throw. Had a man open. It was Steele, and he was open, but the pass was behind him. Incomplete. That was a perfect call in that situation.
And it sure was. He had him wide open. The ball might have been just a little underthrown.
One thing you need to take into consideration is that in the double overtime win against Weir, David Perdue saved the season for the Dots, for the Beavers rather, with a one-handed touchdown grab on 4th down in the first overtime, and Bluefield won the game in the second overtime. Now it's 2nd down and 10. Coburn's going to throw again, and the pass is incomplete. In and out of the hands of Harry Handley. So now the Dots find themselves potentially 2 plays away from a three-peat.
Well, they haven't gone to handling much tonight. We mentioned his name once in the first half, as I remember.
Bluefield needs a touchdown, and they are 0 for 9 on 3rd down conversion attempts tonight.
Tough call, Dave. What do you do here? Do you run the football?
I think I run the football.
Yeah. The pass plays aren't serving them so well. I think I'd go back to running.
Perdue is split out wide to the right. Here's the pitch back to Martin. He's going to throw it. Going to send it to the end zone. Incomplete. A host of players were back there, including Mariotti and the quarterback, Rusty Coburn.
I've tried that one a couple of times tonight. It just hasn't worked out for them tonight. You get the feeling that's something they've rehearsed, and we even talked about it at halftime, that we thought we'd seen that play before. And well, for whatever reason, the trick pass just didn't work well, and now you see the kids on the Poca sideline really getting revved up. They get a sense that something's coming their way.
Each team is issued 1 timeout in the overtime session, and Bluefield, understandably, is going to use their timeout right now. It's 4th down and 10. Bluefield doesn't have to score a touchdown on this play, but to stay alive, they've got to pick up the 1st down.
That's exactly right. One false move here, the ball game's over, and the trophy goes to the other sideline. Fred Simon knows he's really got to convert here on 4th and 10.
And Rusty Coburn throwing the football tonight is 0 for 6. Bluefield 0 for 2 tonight on 4th down conversion attempts. Bob Lemley could be 1 snap away from uncharted territory in West Virginia high school football history. It's 4th down and 10. This could be the final play of the game. Coburn will operate from the gun. Here comes the rush. Coburn going to the end zone. And there's a flag. Hanley was the intended receiver. And pass interference is going to be called against the Dots, and it's going to keep the drive alive for Bluefield.
What a terrible time for Poca to do that. That really works out to Bluefield's advantage, obviously. That was the ball game right there. Poca doesn't make that penalty, and they're probably the state champs.
Defensive pass interference here, first down.
4th down and 10. And the penalty keeps the season alive for Bluefield.
Well, we mentioned the penalty. And here's Bluefield back to pass again. 4th and 10 situation, really 4th and championship situation. Well, there's Poca making the penalty there. That's James Pullen getting whistled for the pass interference call, and now it's 1st and 10.
1st and down, 1st and 10. Here's Steele. And Steele gets near the 7. Santmeyer is there, along with McCormick, to make the stop for Poca. Give them a gain, actually, of 2. Make it 2nd down and 8. Plenty of tension. Championship riding on the line. Coburn, 3-step drop, gunning the football, in and out of the hands of Mariotti, incomplete. And Mariotti wanted a call.
Mariotti's begging for a call there, and he's not going to get it.
So Bluefield, which really didn't throw the football very much all night, suddenly whipping it around here in the overtime.
Yeah, they have no choice, really. Some of these situations, they've been forced to throw the football.
Here in the overtime session, Poca got the ball first. They scored. 1-yard touchdown run by Matt Santmeyer. Bluefield has to score and convert the extra point to force a second overtime. It's 3rd down and goal from the 8. A fake to Purdue. All kinds of time to the end zone. Touchdown Bluefield. It's Steele. Jose Steele on the receiving end of an 8-yard touchdown pass.
How big is that penalty now, Dave?
Huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. Coburn to Steele. 8 yards and the touchdown. And the extra point by Lucas Stone could force a second overtime.
And how about Bluefield? When they need to convert a big pass, they finally get the thing done. But again, the extra point isn't on the board yet.
James is the holder. It's a bad snap. Ball is loose. The Dots have won the Class AA championship. A bad snap on an extra point attempt. Bob Lemley and the Poca Dots win a thrilling West Virginia Class AA championship game in overtime. 21-20 is your final score.
What a crazy play to end it with, Dave. We were just saying.
Down and brought down by Daniel Wells, the junior.
Brought down, yes, but I like the way he falls forward, Dave. It's a sign of a good back when they fall forward and look for that extra half yard or maybe a full yard if you're lucky.
Santmeyer now with 23 carries in this championship game, 121 yards. It's 3rd down and 7. Dots are going to go with 2 wide receivers this time.
Averaging 5 per carry. How about that?
Santmeyer having a nice night. Sandmeyer, and there's the pass.
Oh, wow.
Sandmeyer with a halfback pass, incomplete. And Mariotti saved the bacon for Bluefield.
No flag on the play. What coverage?
You knew it was coming at some point, and Mariotti knew it too.
Yep.
And Sandmeyer was in heavy traffic when he let go of the football. Really could not get a good pass off, but it was open.
You're the Svengali on that one. It was just a few minutes ago. You said, I know we're going to see Poca try a halfback pass. Sandmeyer sends this one down, and, well, Bluefield just defends the heck of it. What can you say? He steps in the way and makes the play. Mariotti does.
Josh Odell was the intended receiver, and that's another big play by Bluefield defensively. Sotelo caught the game-time touchdown. Now sends the punt down the field. That's a dangerous play made by Mariotti. Didn't really need to touch that football, but he gets on it back at the 30-yard line. A 34-yard punt, no return by Tony Sotelo.
Hey, Dave, I know we've groused about the weather all night, but honestly, could you ask for more in a state championship game? Tied at 14 all, 3 minutes to go on the clock. Football weather for sure, but my goodness, what a 3.5 quarters we've seen so far.
What about the two games these two teams have played in back-to-back championships and the weather conditions they've played in?
It says a lot about the football product in Class AA, doesn't it?
It's 10 for Bluefield. That's the 30-yard line. Tied at 14, just over 3 minutes to go in the game. Here's Steele trying to get wide. He is swarmed over by a host of polka dot tacklers.
Took on a big bunch of blockers there. It was 4.
Look at Sotelo. He draws a crowd, doesn't he?
They see him coming, don't they? Sotelo requires a few guys to get him out of the way. 6'5" and full of muscle.
There were 3 Bluefield hats on Sotelo. Second down and 10. 2.5 minutes to go in the 4th. Coburn with the throw. Nearly intercepted. Incomplete. Mariotti was the intended receiver. And it was Noodle Patton who made the defensive play and nearly came up with the interception.
Noodle's wet along with the rest of these guys. How about this coverage? Back to pass and sending along. We haven't seen Bluefield try a lot of pass plays, but, well, Noodle stepped in there and almost had him one day.
Well, Patton's listed at 136 pounds as a senior, so you know he can't be a pound over 130.
That's no spaghetti. That's a manicotti.
Bluefield 0 for 8 on 3rd down tonight. Here's Steele. And Steele is brought down shy of the marker. Now, if Poca had any timeouts remaining, they might call one here to stop the clock. Sure. Neither team has any timeouts.
And that brings up 4th and 7. What a tough spot. 2 minutes to go in a tie game and a state title matchup.
Well, if you're thinking about overtime, Bluefield has already played an overtime game here in the playoffs. They had to go to 2 overtimes to beat Weir 37-30 in the quarterfinal round. Stone did a great job to field that punt, but he shanked it out of bounds.
Came down into jacuzzi full of mud there, Dave. Wow. Looked like he had trouble handling the snap a little bit, and it might have come off the side of his foot there. Coming off, and like we said, folks scurrying out of the way. Well, that thing just heads for the tub.
So with 1:45 to go and no timeouts, the Dots have the football at the Bluefield 48. Shamblin looking to throw. Going to tuck it, going to run it, flags down. And it looks like it could be a face mask penalty.
That's about what I was thinking, too.
Very Hanley making the stop. Flag on the field.
In the mud and the slush, Coburn really wasn't showing too much speed. No, it's not a face mask penalty. Instead, it's a holding call that's going to be backing up the Dots.
That'll push him back a little.
Coburn seemed to be going in rather the quarterback for the Poca Dots. Shamblin seemed to be going in slow motion.
Did. Everything's going in slow motion right now. Can't afford to go too slow, though. State championship's on the line here.
Illegal block in the back. Here.
Toward the dirtier of the two teams. Uniform-wise.
The football now is all the way back at the dot 39. And the clock is running. Play action fake. Oh, it actually was a handoff. Swarmed in the backfield. And so the Dots started this drive in Beaver territory, but they're going backwards now. Neither team can stop the clock with a timeout.
Looked like it was Pinnell stepping up to make the hit there.
Second down and 27.
Nearing 1 minute to go, Dave.
Well, it appears as if 4 quarters of football is not going to be enough to determine a champion in Class AA. Sandmeyer. It's a double reverse. And the pass is intercepted. It's Martin making the interception. And he's brought down by Wes Browning. So Bob Lemley rolled the dice there. The Dots now with 4 turnovers on the game.
I believe that was J.R. Hill who dropped back to throw the pass there in that little trickeration situation. We'll take a look at it again. This is what you see from Poca. You see a lot of tricky plays, and well, there's Hill to sling it long. A little wobbly coming out. Well, didn't matter in the long run, though. There's Bluefield to take the football away.
And Bluefield had 3 defenders back.
They did. I think they may have seen it coming.
Would not surprise me to see Bluefield take a knee here and just head to overtime. Oh my goodness. It was a handoff to Purdue, and he tried to get outside to the right and dropped the football, got back on it. And that may be the last snap of regulation.
Well, it has not been a thing of beauty, Dave, but nonetheless, it's a classic.
Well, the temperature is now rising, figuratively and literally. And now that snow is turning into rain. And we're going to overtime. So Bluefield and the Poca Dots are going to overtime to determine the Class AA championship in the state of West Virginia. We're back in a moment to Wheeling Island Stadium.
Right now, it's a great time to buy or refinance your home, and a WesBanco mortgage equity package saves you time and money doing both. Your mortgage with a no-fee home equity line of credit or just a line of credit as low as 4.5% APR. Get the money for that new addition, the vacation you've always wanted, college for the kids, or a new car. Lock in a great rate with a WesBanco mortgage equity package now. WesBanco. Small enough to listen, big enough to help.
Introducing 59 News.
A news with better resources, delivering information that's important to you.
Immediate coverage transmitted instantly from our network of stations across the state.
The area's only news helicopter, Chopper 59.
A mobile live satellite uplink.
Plus, the most advanced weather technology, Storm Tracker 59.
And more than 150 news professionals gathering the news that affects you and your family.
Watch 59 News, providing information about your town, your state, and your future.
Well, 4 quarters was not enough tonight to determine a champion in West Virginia Class AA. The Poca Dots and the Bluefield Beavers tied at 14. We're going to be heading to overtime. And Drew Powell over there on the Bluefield sideline, they've had some recent history with overtime, haven't they?
That's right, Dave. I'll tell you, Bluefield is no stranger to overtime. This is their second time they've had an overtime game in just a couple of weeks. We all remember it was 2 weeks ago at Mitchell Stadium down in Bluefield when Bluefield and Weir went into not one but a 2 overtime shootout, with Bluefield winning that one 37-30. So the Bluefield Beavers are certainly no stranger to overtime.
No, they certainly aren't, and they really love playing at Mitchell Stadium. They were 8-0 on their home turf this year through the playoffs and the regular season. Now, the strategy here, Sean, is to go on defense first.
Yeah, I guess the idea is to make your stop first. Worry about stopping the other guy and then get your chance to score, right?
Exactly. Well,
yeah.
the point also is when you're on defense, you know what you have to do.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. Hey, who'd have thought this would go to overtime? I know we're matched with 2 even teams here, but my goodness, what a classic we're seeing. Well, it really is.
Here's the point. You know, with different overtime rules in the NFL, in college football, and in high school football, we thought you might like to take a look at the overtime rules. In high school football, you'll begin at the 10-yard line. Each team will get 20, will each get 4 downs to score. And if tied, play will continue, and there must be a winner.
I like this format. I don't like football ties. I know that's a purist situation, Dave, but don't you love seeing a team go home with the win? And obviously at the state championship game, you better have a win.
Well, I think we have a problem with that graphic. The ball starts at the 20-yard line. So here we go. So we'll begin at the 20-yard line, and you can get a first down. Dots with the football. Santmeyer, left side. Breaks 1 tackle, still on his feet. Inside the 15, down to the 14-yard line. That's a gain of 6 on first down.
Yep, that's what he's been doing all night long, Dave. Just find your hole and twist your way through it. Get your yards as you can.
Second down and 5. Dots trying to take the lead in this overtime session. We have not had a field goal attempt tonight.
I'd be surprised if we saw one here. It just feels like we're going to see a couple of scores.
Bluefield has one of the best kickers in the state in Lucas Stone. 2nd and 5. Here's the handoff to Browning. Browning going straight up the middle. He's got the first down.
So deceptive with the football.
So Browning with his first carry in a while.
Well, here's what we're talking about. So deceptive in that he fakes the little toss play before handing off to Browning, and Browning fights his way ahead. My goodness, the resilience there. Just not wanting to be brought down, wanting to keep his feet moving.
1st and goal for the Dots at the 8. We're into our first overtime. Here's Santmeyer, and Santmeyer leaning forward. Inside the 5, down to about the 4-yard line. So early on in this overtime, the Dots getting a great surge up front. Their offensive line getting the job done. Looper, Smith, Lanham, Holmes, and Roberts. And Tony Sotelo doing the job.
Well, Dave, here inside the goal, the red zone, Poca tends to go to Sotelo, as we saw on that last play, the last scoring play, that is, that Poca had. They threw over the top to Sotelo for the little catch. It'd be interesting to see if they try something like that again.
Here's Santmeyer, spinning, twisting, down near the goal line, but not over the goal line.
Down to the 1.
Kelly Mariotti made the stop. You're talking about throwing the football in this situation, Sean. We've had 3 different Poca players throw passes tonight.
We have. And look at this. He gets all the way down to the 1, and it didn't come easily, though. He took some impact there on that last tackle.
3rd down and goal at the 1-yard line. Poca trying to become the first class AA team to three-peat in West Virginia high school football history. It's Santmeyer. Touchdown. Touchdown, Poca Dots. So here comes the extra point attempt by Jonathan McCormick. A 1-yard touchdown run by Sandmeyer. His 33rd touchdown of the year.
Just a tough little run. That seems to be the specialty of the house tonight, Dave. Not a whole lot of beautiful football plays, but nonetheless, they're effective. They're getting the job done out there on both sides of the ball.
Point after very critical in overtime. Kick is up, and he got it through, just through. 21-14.
Bob Lemley's all jacked up after getting that one.
So the Polka Dots are in front for the first time since the second quarter.
Well, here's what we meant by effective plays, but not beautiful. He just sort of leans his way in, really. Almost like he just kept his feet long enough to get in, did Sandmeyer, and that's good enough to get the touchdown, good enough to help Poca get the 7-point lead here in OT.
And in the overtime session, Bluefield will get a possession. They need a touchdown and an extra point to tie.
Boy, and in plays like that, Dave, you really got to give the tip of the helmet to the O-line, because they really make the space, even a little bit of space there, because it's really all you need, just enough to get the guy across the goal line. And how about Sandmeyer? Really, really a big night for him.
You can see the Dots have scored 7 points in overtime and now have a 21-14 lead. Bluefield now with their first crack at the football in overtime. They'll start from the 20. Coburn, play action fake, throw, had a man open. It was Steele, and he was open, but the pass was behind him, incomplete. That was a perfect call in that situation.
And it sure was. He had him wide open. The ball might have been just a little underthrown.
One thing you need to take into consideration is that in the double overtime win against Weir, David Perdue saved the season for the Dots, for the Beavers rather, with a one-handed touchdown grab on 4th down in the first overtime, and Bluefield won the game in the second overtime. Now it's 2nd down and 10. Coburn's going to throw again, and the pass is incomplete. In and out of the hands of Harry Handley. So now the Dots find themselves potentially 2 plays away from a three-peat.
Well, they haven't gone to handling much tonight. We mentioned his name once in the first half, as I remember.
Bluefield needs a touchdown, and they are 0 for 9 on 3rd down conversion attempts tonight.
Tough call, Dave. What do you do here? Do you run the football?
I think I run the football.
Yeah. Pass plays aren't serving them so well. I think I'd go back to running.
Perdue is split out wide to the right. Here's the pitch back to Martin. He's going to throw it. Going to send it to the end zone. Incomplete. A host of players were back there, including Mariotti and the quarterback, Rusty Coburn.
They've tried that one a couple of times tonight. It just hasn't worked out for them tonight. You get the feeling that that's something they've rehearsed, and we even talked about it at halftime, that we thought we'd seen that play before. And well, for whatever reason, the trick pass just didn't work well, and now you see the kids on the Poca sideline really getting revved up. They get a sense that something's coming their way.
Each team is issued 1 timeout in the overtime session. And Bluefield, understandably, is going to use their timeout right now. It's 4th down and 10. Bluefield doesn't have to score a touchdown on this play, but to stay alive, they've got to pick up the 1st down.
That's exactly right. One false move here, the ball game's over, and the trophy goes to the other sideline. Fred Simon knows he's really got to convert here on 4th and 10.
And Rusty Coburn throwing the football tonight is 0 for 6. Bluefield 0 for 2 tonight on 4th down conversion attempts. Bob Lemley could be 1 snap away from uncharted territory in West Virginia high school football history. It's 4th down and 10. This could be the final play of the game. Coburn will operate from the gun. Here comes the rush. Coburn going to the end zone. And there's a flag. Hanley was the intended receiver. And pass interference is going to be called against the Dots, and it's going to keep the drive alive for Bluefield.
What a terrible time for Poca to do that. That really works out to Bluefield's advantage, obviously. That was the ball game right there. Poca doesn't make that penalty, and they're probably the state champs.
Defensive pass interference here, first down.
4th down and 10. And the penalty keeps the season alive for Bluefield.
Well, we mentioned the penalty. And here's Bluefield back to pass again. 4th and 10 situation, really 4th and championship situation. Well, there's Poca making the penalty there. That's James Pullen getting whistled for the pass interference call. And now it's 1st and 10.
1st and down, 1st and 10. Here's Steele. And Steele gets near the 7. Santmeyer is there along with McCormick to make the stop for Poca. Give him a gain actually of 2. Make it 2nd down and 8. Plenty of tension. Championship riding on the line. Coburn, 3-step drop, gunning the football, in and out of the hands of Mariotti, incomplete. And Mariotti wanted a call.
Mariotti's begging for a call there, and he's not going to get it.
So Bluefield, which really didn't throw the football very much all night, suddenly whipping it around here in the overtime.
Yeah, they have no choice, really. Some of these situations, they've been forced to throw the football.
Here in the overtime session, Poca got the ball first. They scored. 1-yard touchdown run by Matt Santmeyer. Bluefield has to score and convert the extra point to force a second overtime. It's 3rd down and goal from the 8. A fake to Purdue. All kinds of time to the end zone. Touchdown Bluefield. It's Steele. Jose Steele on the receiving end of an 8-yard touchdown pass.
How big is that penalty now, Dave?
Huge.
Yeah,
absolutely huge. Coburn to Steele, 8 yards and the touchdown. And the extra point by Lucas Stone could force a second overtime.
And how about Bluefield? When they need to convert a big pass, they finally get the thing done. But again, the extra point isn't on the board yet.
James is the holder. It's a bad snap. Ball is loose. The Dots have won the Class AA championship. A bad snap on an extra point attempt. Bob Lemley and the Poca Dots win a thrilling West Virginia Class AA championship game in overtime. 21-20 is your final score.
What a crazy play to end it with, Dave. We were just saying, hey, the extra point isn't on the board just yet. It's not over till it's over, and a bad snap ends it. And Poca has unthinkably three-peated.
Bluefield got a pass interference call to go their way on 4th down and 10 to keep their drive alive. They scored a touchdown. All they needed was the extra point to force a second overtime. Bluefield didn't even get a chance to kick the football. A bad snap, and the Dots have won the AA championship. They will end the year at 12-2.
Well, a lot of dejection on the faces of the Bluefield players, Dave. They were so close. They got second life after that pass interference call there in the overtime, and they really felt like they were coming on strong. The touchdown probably felt like they had it all sealed up, but again, the extra point was what made the difference.
Bluefield ends the season at 11-2. Let's send it down to the field to hear from Bob Lemley.
Well, Coach, you kept us guessing till the final seconds there. How does it feel to go back to back to back?
I just got through saying it's unbelievable. You know, these guys, they never quit. They haven't quit for 3 years, and I'm just proud of them. this is the ultimate. It really is.
Did you have any idea you could pull this off, winning 3 in a row?
Well, you know, you think you've got a pretty good team. You just don't know. And like I told them before the game, I said, play every play like it's your last play and play as hard as you can. And I think they did that.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Congratulations. Go celebrate.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
There you go, Poca, a 1-point winner over Bluefield, 21-20, the final. Back to the studio.
All right, thank you. And the Polka Dots win the championship for Bob Lemley. That's 4 AA championships with the Dots, 3 in a row. And Sean McDowell, this wasn't the most aesthetically perfect football game, but it was emotionally charged, and it gave us so many twists and turns to the final result.
It looked more like a war of attrition combined with a Tide commercial. Dave, I beg your pardon. It really wasn't a beautiful football game, but if you're a football purist, you had a little bit of everything. Lots of turnovers, a battle through the elements, and really just a war of who wanted to survive, Dave.
Well, an amazing game, and just a terrific way for the Super 6 weekend to start here at Wheeling Island Stadium. And you have to feel for Bluefield. They left it all out on the field tonight.
Well, they really did. Like we said, they were so close, but at the same time, you have to feel so happy for Bob Lemley and company. They started out in August telling us, hey, we really think we can pull off this three-peat, and lo and behold, here we are in December, and they're the champs again.
That's going to do it for our coverage. Our thanks to our field reporters tonight, Steve McGeehee and Drew Powell. Sean McDowell up in the booth with me. I'm Dave Weekley saying so long from Wheeling Island Stadium. In overtime, Poca wins the West Virginia Class AA Championship, 21-20 over the Bluefield Beavers. Good night from Wheeling Island Stadium.
So you're representing that accident victim now? The law offices of Roop, Smith, and Roop. Lost wages. We are the insurance company, and it is our job to pay. You're calling in the litigation unit? Court. No, court's expensive.
Can we settle? If you've been injured in an accident, tell the insurance companies you mean business. Call Paul Roop on the Hurt line right now.
Need help with your Christmas deliveries? Call First Choice Cash Advance. When you need extra money until payday, we want to be your first choice.
Now share a moment with friends. We draw cards.
Okay, I just need 2. The 10 of spades and the 6 of clubs.
No, Phoebes, you can't do...
Oh, wait, I have the 10 of spades. Here, you want it?
No, see, you can't do that.
Oh, no, that's okay, that's okay. I don't need them. I'm going for 4.
You gotta have friends 5 days a week.
On WBNS 59.
Yeah.
Well, your English is flawless now.
Thank you.
Now, we have something in common that your favorite time of year is autumn, is fall.
Yeah. I love it. I love, the flower, the leaves turning colors and stuff. But I like when the sun, it changes. For me, where I live, it changes the direction for some odd reason. So I sleep for 14 hours.
Yeah.
Because during summertime, I bright, straight in my
the days are shorter in
yeah,
in
so
the
I feel like
wintertime,
at 7 o'clock, I'm like, oh, bedtime. I go to bed and then I wake up at 10.
Isn't that great? Because at the end of the day, really,
I know, right? The hard
you
life.
have food. Food is fun. Meals are fun. I guess the SEX is fun for a while.
The what?
The SEX. But sleeping. A good night's sleep, you can't beat that.
No, I truly love.
We should sleep.